I do that. Yeah,
We are live, and then an entropy, go live,
there you go.
confirm password. I have to still contact them on entropy. I should probably do that.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I
I would
mean,
recommend it.
they're not going to hold my funds, are they?
Well, you're not going to get paid until you have everything set up.
Oh, true. But I'll have to. I'll have to look
Yes.
at look at look at just I've been feasting on Fishy Frenzy's meme of this guy from Venezuela holding a bag of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola un bolsa. Like I've just been like the Giga Chat dialogues over the guy holding a bag of Coca-Cola. A lot of third world countries they put drinks in bags. Did you know
Yeah, they
this?
do. Yes, you can get
Like
milk
all
in
those
bags.
yeah, like those Indian street food videos where
Yeah.
they're like putting in the bag. yeah, Keen Slime started.
I thought that was started because of what Charlie Kirk had said.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think
So,
Fishy Frenzy
so
did
for,
one with the
for
Charlie Kirk where he's like, we don't accept that in this country.
So for those who don't know, allegedly, well, I haven't seen the clip myself, but all the media watch people, like the right wing watch people, are reporting it. That basically, like Charlie Kirk went on a rant where he was basically saying, "I want like public executions of Trump's enemies, sponsored by Coca-Cola." And he's like, "I want our children to see it at a certain age so they understand like that freedom isn't free or something."
Oh
And I
man,
was
he's
like,
really going.
I was like, "Whoa, there is like, there is it's 0 or 100 with Mr. Kirk as of late.
Yeah.
Whatever's
No, it
laced.
was a meme before Charlie Kirk, but then
Oh,
it
okay,
accelerated.
but
Yeah.
whatever's laced in Charlie Kirk's cocaine has been
Well,
really
Canada
good."
confirmed third world pack.
No, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah,
Frenzy.
we do have a lot of bagged milk. Oh man, I forgot the entropy link. Let me just put it quickly. Let me go to the chat. I have to like physically go to YouTube to
Mm.
find the chat. But anyways, this is the Digital Archipelago. By the way, we should really cut down on the Fed posting. Like we should,
Oh,
um,
obviously. We're just quoting Charlie Kirk,
yeah, exactly. Charlie Kirk's the most mainstream guy. I mean,
and
it's
he's Fed posting on his show every
yeah,
day.
like it's like that guy. You know what it's like that guy that was praying to Trump. Like
Yeah,
Donald Trump, help me. Like it's
he's not God, bro.
yeah. So the pin message for the entropy link is there. So I've pinned the message, but so you can contribute to entropy or of course to YouTube, but YouTube takes a bigger cut. So entropy's I have to contact them, but I'm sure they're not gonna. The guys running it probably aren't. They're not gonna be assholes about it. They're probably
No.
yeah. So, anyways, this is episode 79. I can't believe. Do you remember episode 60? Of course you do, Prue. Episode 69.
Of course I do.
Of
Yeah.
course I do.
Of course I do. That was a fun
Yeah,
episode.
that was a fun one. Yeah, it's funny because we were talking. We were covering some similar. Uh, I think I mentioned it on the newest episode of Computer Room, which is probably will come out tomorrow. Hopefully, we talk about this academic study on fem cells. But for those who don't know, both me and Prude. Wait, did you write about Starship Troopers too?
No, I have not written about Starship Troopers. I might, because I have like some notes I took down on like the Helldivers video game, and
Well, Prude has you were playing it. You said it was one of the most
yeah,
enjoyable games ever.
well, the multiplayer experience is enjoyable. I was playing last night with Capitalissimo and some other mutuals of mine and friends IRL. It was a lot of
Oh, I
fun.
thought I heard him on the stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on there. And it was a lot of it was a very entertaining, and it's so perfect because it's Turbo America in space. Like we're going to have we're going to watch my mixed race family like die right in front of me, and this convinces me to join the military. And then I'm going to kill all sorts of things with, high explosive ordnance across the universe in the name of managed democracy and freedom and other like corpo slop. And it's just like this is the perfect representation of
Even
like,
the name Helldivers.
well, I mean, it's perfect. I think it's kind of a riff off the ODST thing, the Hell Jumper, and then
Oh yeah.
you're atmospherically and like exo-atmospherically inserted. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. But like, I have like a whole bunch of notes I have on the politics of it all, and I'm like, maybe that'll turn into a script. Maybe.
Wasn't
I,
there
I I did rewatch Sargon's old video on Starship Troopers, and I forgot how annoying Arch's voice is. Because he had Arch Warhammer do all of the Robert Heinlein readings from Starship Troopers, and I was
Oh
like,
man.
ugh, not my cup of tea. But I mean, like the video actually aged pretty well because it's mainly about political realism, and I was like, surprisingly based take from Sargon like 6 years ago. Way to go!
Oh
But
man.
a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Wasn't there like a crappy like sci-fi series? It was like in the similar vein. It was with that guy that was always in those like 80s films. Like he was in Platoon and he was in some like that type of like oh man, what's the film I'm referring to?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like only had a few seasons, but it was like a bunch of like
So
soy.
it's a TV show.
It was a TV show on sci-fi. It was like a bunch of soylenial nerds like going after demons from hell or something. It was like that.
Well, there was Supernatural, but that wasn't on Sci-Fi. I don't know what show you're
No, it
talking
wasn't
about.
Supernatural. I have to like.
Like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking.
It's like a post Gamergate. Okay, let me.
We're 10 years post Gamergate. That like, do you know how small that narrows it down?
No, but let me find you. I'm okay. I'm going to Platoon. Johnny Depp was in Platoon.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't see Johnny Depp in Platoon.
You need to rewatch.
It was with the.
He's not a major role, but
no, yeah, it was with John C. McGinley. Let me look up. Okay, television.
Anyways, chat. How are
Stand
you?
Against Hell. That's Stand Against Hell. You ever heard of Stand Against Hell?
No.
That's like that. That's like.
Is the name of the character Stan, or is this?
Sorry, Stand Against Evil. Stand Against Evil, not Stand Against Hell. Stand Against
Evil.
Stand.
Stand. Okay.
No, Stan as in Twitter Stan.
Oh.
STAN. So you know exactly. And it's got like some.
Well, I was going to ask. Is this where the word "stan" like it's used in terms of "I stand this," or is this just the
like
name
that.
Stan for Stanley?
No. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Sorry, it's the name Stan.
Because I was like, I feel like the word "stan" is still relatively recent in the internet nomenclature and lexicon.
It's like it's like one of. Oh, sorry, it was produced by IFC. So.
Oh. Okay.
Can't be too bad, but no, but it's like there's like sort of like the video game kind of culture that's somewhat related to sci-fi.
Like that
Law and Order,
like that Law and Order SVU episode where like the woman is like, I know that like women isn't this place for gamers, and it's like you're damn right, but Law and Order SVU is great because they try to be so contemporary about it, but it's so schlocky and on the nose.
It's people that don't know what they're doing.
Well, they never because I don't know what the rules are on TV with respects to using actual names for brands. But like they'll be like, oh yeah, we found it on like Red Chanet or whatever, and it's just like, oh my, just say the name, man. Like it won't kill you.
The name. But anyways, no.
Name the hell site. Name. Name
Twitter.
Name Reddit. Just name it. Just name that Soylenial website and get it over with. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger.
Oh, Reddit might be going out of business.
Oh, it was only a matter of time.
They're losing money left and right. I think like they have suffered the same fate as Rich Kiyonka and low tax with because I watched this documentary on low tax that was made after he met his unfortunate end, and it's I think like they're going the same way because really like how could you sustain that model? It's sort of like I don't know, I guess like I remember hearing something about let's see, Reddit news. I've heard something that like they're losing money or they're getting
Uh-huh.
bought, and it's like something like that. But it's like all these giants are sort of going by the wayside, like BuzzFeed and yeah, it's Google cuts a deal with Reddit for AI training, but it was before the AI training. Um, they're like cutting staff. Where is it?
Hmm.
It's something like that. Like they're like generally doing not doing well financially, but that's why they have to like do these moves like selling their data to Google. It's like one of those things, right? So if you thought the woke AI was going to be if you thought it was bad now you have yeah now
Well, I
they're
mean, these
yeah.
these AI constraints, they're just I think I had said it the other day, just like constrained or captive moderation breeds controllable dysfunction. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what this is controllable
100%.
dysfunction.
Yeah. It's well, it is funny though. I think like the fact that there was no subtlety to it,
Yeah.
that you know what I mean, like that they like right off the bat, and like people were making funny memes. Like Perry had a great tweet that was pretty funny about an Indian gentleman in you know dressed as a particular leader from World War II. It was very
Yes.
funny. But no, but I think that yeah, I agree with Internet Friend. Reddit will probably be bought by somebody who keeps it alive, similar to the reason why Elon bought Twitter. Of course, you can't let that giant fall because it is a huge source of public data. It is like the dataism centerpiece, right? So
Well, I thought honestly they were doing fine with all those stupid little Reddit gift tokens that people could buy and gift others and award them.
oh yeah,
I thought that was a pretty sizable micro monetization technique that they were working with.
it is, but yeah, but like the cost of running it though
Oh, I'm
is
sure. I'm sure. I don't
exponential.
I don't know the logistics of Reddit, but whoever kills Reddit or buys it out, well, it's like a white elephant gift, you know. Like you have to take care of that thing forever now. Good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah, it's like people that still have their Geopats, sorry, Neopets from like 2002. It's like it becomes,
Congrats. Now your data's in the hands
congratulations.
of the Church of Scientology.
Scientology runs Neopets?
They have some. I thought this was like a well-known thing that, like, at some point in time, Neopets had been like bought out or had their issue with Scientology not too long ago.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, it sounds like an urban legend according to this article from the outline, and rumors surrounding the connection between Scientology and Neopets do exist. But yeah, apparently they did buy some of it.
That's like the Michelin star rating was actually started by Michelin, the tire company.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
To
true.
sell to have, to sell tires while you drive and go to
Well,
these
there's plenty of
restaurants.
yeah, there's plenty of companies that started off as bizarre things that don't relate to like,
Well, I mean,
you know,
Michelin still does the tire thing.
yeah. No, but I mean like there are companies that start off like I'm trying to think of an example. Um, but anyways, so I wrote a piece about the Starship Troopers thing. I quoted a number of good articles. One article in particular by Solion, and of course, Remnant Posting had a great thread. I quoted both of them, and I was eating on some Simpsons podcaster, and so it's my link. The links below will have my Substack where you could go, and of course, you could pay for the exclusive content minded podcasts. I actually recently recorded one with Gabe on Fish Tank Live, so we spurred out. Um, and people have been going crazy about the media literacy Starship Troopers thing, and you say that you said that you wanted to do something on the Helldivers
I might
game.
write something. I'll probably
Yeah.
write something on it because I have like 2 or 3 scripts about video games that are just sitting in my hard drive that I would love to one day record, and I realize
Uh,
that'll never happen on this channel, so they might go someplace else that's my sort of like lurker YouTube, or I like
Yeah.
listen to other because I haven't like I have a backup Prudentialist account that I use to like lurk and see what the leftist discourse is. Because I don't want that shit clogging up my like recommendations feed.
Oh, you're pulling a Dave?
Sometimes I pull a Dave, but like the things I listen to isn't BreadTube. It's more like progressive policy wonks talking.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So like anything I listen to a lot of neocons and like leftist policy wonks talk on my alt. I don't listen to
Mm.
breadtubers. I try to listen to the people that want to make my country worse but legally.
Uh, by the way, speaking of Brett, have you been following the drama?
No, just in the same way I haven't followed any of the real drama on our side. Like I
Yeah.
had the word media literacy muted on my Twitter. It was great.
You have been following the bread tube with I think the
All I know
Vouch.
is that the Vouch had
Yeah.
very conspicuous, very sus drawings on his hard drive, and he's a total
Well,
pervert. And apparently, people were calling him out for it. And he says, "You can't call me out. It's an election year. We all need to be united against Trump and fascism."
that's what Brianna Wu unironically said. Is
Oh,
that we
really?
can't call a Vouch out because it's an election year. Yeah. Um.
Wow.
So
Kind of.
yeah.
You know what? I kind of. Honestly, you wish the right had that kind of ability
Yeah,
to
I
just
know, eh?
like I don't care that so and so has a cold take. He needs to be we need to destroy the left, you know.
Yeah. But no, but so Vouch's, I think even Cathles was forced to snake Vouch because people, even like mainstream YouTubers like Mudahar, and I don't particularly like Mudahar because for other reasons I won't get into, but because he snaked a friend of mine. But other like mainstream YouTubers, they're starting to go over, and of course they never mention Kiwi Farms,
No,
but
of course not.
Null has been stacking up W after W this week because people are finding out about the Catboy Ranch, about the homemade girl pills that have been sent to mine. People that are, let's call them little people. It's for YouTube. Let's call them little people. So yeah, people are finding out all of this stuff that the farms knew about for like years now, and of course, Keffel's scamming the Canadian Communist Party and scamming Keffels' fans for money to fight this legal battle in London, England, and it's just it's been a disaster for BreadTube. And now Vouch is reduced to being supported by Vito, the cheese pizzaist, and Mr. Girl. And that's pretty much, that's how it's tough. It's tough, ladies and gentlemen.
This would be a great time for Mr. Win to make a video. His 1 year his one video a year
oh,
content slop on the discourse over how do we
oh, and
gatekeep degenerate leftists
yeah,
by another degenerate leftist.
ContraPoints even had to snake Vouch. So
See, all the more reason why the
yeah,
BreadTube Civil War is a good thing. May they all
yeah.
you
Can you
know.
imagine if we streamed with PPP or with Kino Casino? That'd be amazing.
I don't
I don't know,
know.
probably
I don't know how much I would want that, Gio.
yeah, I'd want to avoid drama, but
I'd like
it's
to avoid
funny.
that as much as possible.
It's funny because Vito on Twitter dug up this clip from where PPP and Worski back when he used to live with Surfer said some choice epithets about Vito when they were drunk one stream, and it was hilarious. It's like so hilarious.
I'm getting my shooters in chat are telling me Vouch holds the hosting company many breadtubers are
Yes,
using like Keffels. Interesting.
yeah. Peter Coffin broke that revelation. Yeah.
Interesting. See, no
So
ethical
the
consumption under capitalism, eh? You know, that's
yeah.
kind of funny.
So you know
Dear
what
God, our enemies are just a
yeah, they're
joke.
terrible. You
Well,
know
these
what
people are a joke. The real enemies are the ones in government. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what Shawana did when this whole thing broke? Um she's just like, I'm leaving, you know, because of my Catholic husband, I'm leaving Twitter and YouTube for Lent. And so I'll see
Oh, so
you.
I'll see you in 40 days.
I'll see you in
Bye.
3 days. Bye. Like,
Not dealing with this drama. Bye.
she had like the best exit strategy. My Catholic husband and me are doing Lent, and so I'm not going to comment on this drama.
I'm not going to deal with this garbage. I'll see you in 40 days when the discourse is about
Yeah,
like
when it
the
simmers
latest,
over.
right-wing slur or whatever. It'll be great.
I mean, all these people are terrible. Well, except for Shuanhead, but like all these people are terrible, like H3H3. But you got to know that, like, okay, let's be real. The reason that H3 snaked on Vaush is because Vaush said we should nuke that one nation in the Middle East. He literally said that on stream. So Vaush can Fed post more than like a guy that like publishes on like, you know, BitChute and has written articles for the Daily Stormer. Like Vaush could like literally Fed post harder, but you know what I mean? Like, but like YouTube.
I'm gonna Fed
go
post
after Vaush.
harder, but sponsored by Raytheon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters,
But you know what's funny though is I think Vaush even had to like crawl back from the anti-Israel rhetoric because of his paymasters or whoever. They're like, I don't think it's pretty good that like the American security state is supporting this. Meanwhile, you know, you're talking about nuking them. It's very, 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 yeah. But speaking of the American security state, did you see that Tucker? This is why we should have not dumped the Tucker stocks. He interviewed Julian Assange's wife, and he interviewed Linda Brimelow. Oh my god!
Yeah, he interviewed Lydia. Yeah, Brimelow.
Lydia Brimelow. Yeah.
That was great. I
That was
was
crazy.
I was kind of surprised. Like, wow, Tucker just like told 1 million people about VDare.com. Like, that's wonderful.
What was the initial like that crazy judge, the DA in New York? Is it because
Letitia James,
who also went after Trump, if I recall?
I think she's doing something separately there. Yeah.
But like it was over that Peter Brimelow was exposing an immigration thing, or what was that? What was the exact?
Let me pull up the story so I get the correct stuff here, because I don't want to.
It was an exact thing that Peter Brimelow did an expose on with VDare.
Yeah,
And,
so like the ongoing issues here are about
his wife is like significantly younger than him, right?
I've been told
she's like 36 and he's like 60. Yeah.
Well, I mean, then.
Well.
Okay,
yeah.
Good for him, right? Like.
Yeah, they have a baby.
Well done. Don't have any problem with that in that respect. I mean, if they're happy together, I mean, she's not to do the whole covet thy neighbor's wife thing, but I mean, she does. She's a very good-looking woman, to say the least. But I mean, Letitia James is going after them and basically is trying to utilize their legal power on how to.
Well, it was going to dox like everybody that wrote
down, but not just dox their writers, but dox anyone who has ever donated to them in the traditional route. There are a couple of ways to do things still anonymously, but it's basically trying to ensure that even if VDare moved, they would try their best to like get them elsewhere. And there are a lot of states, like New York especially, Governor Kate Hochul, or however you pronounce her name, they have like some sort of like counter hate speech or counter hate crime, like, bureau.
They're doing the same thing they did with various like white supremacy groups, like the Aryan Nations, where they like dox people
it's
that
not
actually donate to them. Yeah.
They're also they're trying to leverage pressure through their laws on to other states. So like if you're a writer for say VDare or whatever, and you live in Illinois, like they're going to try and find a way to go after you and your livelihood. And that's an insane thing to think about, that like the sovereign, like the jurisprudence of one state stops at the state line and borders.
Yeah.
And they're, using extraterritoriality to do that. And that's the big deal with this, in the same way that like the whole Trump real estate case that just happened. Like the governor of New York literally had to go out of her way and tell like the rest of the New York City real estate community, listen, this is not going to affect you. This is literally us going after Donald Trump. And
but how do they know that?
but please do not panic and please do not take your money out of the city. We love you so much. Okay, bye. Thanks. Bye. And everyone else is like, oh, I think I need to get the hell out of New York.
Yeah, I think that's a dangerous precedent,
Oh, I mean, the whole trying to take down Trump in this case has been, they've just said, jurisprudence, precedent, order, any semblance of, I guess, quote unquote, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Off the top of my head, it's killing me. I can't think of it. Any sense of
jurisprudence.
legitimacy. Jesus, that was the
Oh,
word.
legitimacy, yeah.
Yeah, legitimacy. Like any semblance of legitimacy that this is a free and fair system is gone. Which, on one hand, if you're an accelerationist, good. But if you're a normie, everyone else is like, "Whoa, this is kind of weird." And then,
Yeah.
of course, the rabid liberal base is like, "Yes, sir. Glory to progressive judicial activism. We must destroy Donald Trump and fascism at all costs." And
But
so,
but
like,
the
everyone knows that the jig is up.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. There's no, like, this is what Donald Trump, I feel, has really like exposed, is that there's no rules anymore. That there is like literal anarcho tyranny. That, I know it's a cliche talking point, but that any sort of function or appeal of the older boomer truth regime towards civil society having function, like in the judiciary functioning blindly, that's gone now. That's there. We literally do live in a perpetual state of exception. But what was the case that they went after Peter Brimelow for? Was it because he was exposing some kind of immigration uh
I think that's how it started.
tomfoolery in New York? I think it
I
was.
believe that's how it started.
Yeah, but like they live in a castle in like Virginia, and
Are they in
they
West Virginia? Right?
yeah, they have the Vidare
Like, they're in a
Castle.
nice little red state, and, like, they're just they have their castle, right? And although I do
Yeah,
have to find it funny because 'cause they're having,
their conference. What's it called?
oh, I don't know, I think it's just, like, the
Vidare
V
Fest, or
just hang out at the castle,
they've
But
had this for a while. They've had this since like the 90s. This
yeah, yeah,
conference
yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of like
But,
Amran. It's like Amran. Yeah.
I always chuckle, though, because I noticed who was speaking, at the event this
Yeah, it's
year, and
like it's Amanda Milius and
Amanda
Thomas
Milius,
777.
Thomas
Yeah.
777, Keith Wood.
Keith Woods. Who else?
So it's just like a cavalcade of the who's
Sean
who
Last, I
on
think.
the
Maybe Sean.
anti-immigration HBD right.
Yeah. It's very, very funny. But no, but I mean it's crazy though, because when you think of it, like Peter Brimelow, like he used to publish in like, in like National Review, and then he was
Well,
famous.
so did John Derbyshire before. Well, what got John Derbyshire, I think, in trouble was
Yeah.
the white version of the talking about
Oh,
race
yeah.
after the Trayvon Martin thing,
Did
which that article
didn't
has aged incredibly well.
did Dinesh D'Souza specifically snake him?
I don't know if it
Derby?
was Nash, but the National Review guys were like, none of that shit.
Yeah, I think it was specifically um yeah, I think it was specifically um Dinesh D'Souza that snaked Derby, if I recall. But Brimelow, he was like, he was a mainstream figure. Didn't he have like articles in the New York Times or whatever? Like
He was published in all sorts of places, not just
that's
the
what
Times.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like he was like a legitimate, like what you would consider an old guard of journalism.
Yeah.
But then he like now he's like seen on par with like, you know, any other crazy wig that like it's really
I don't even think you can call him that. Like, anytime he's done debates over immigration, he's just making the clear point that, like, I mean, maybe he's gone more to the right, or but I mean, like, I've seen the debates he even did back in the '90s when he wrote,
yeah.
Alien
Yeah.
Nation. He's just like, look, this is not sustainable to the fabric of the country, and he sounded very much like a civic nationalist at that point. He's just like, look, like, even the Europeans that came here before, like all the Poles, Germans, Italians, etc. Like, yeah, it took time. And it's just like, you can't do it with what you're doing with people who have no connection to European culture, roots, or history.
Well, that's what I mean. Like Jared Taylor's
It was
much
the
more
most
explicit.
sensible. It was the most sensible position one
Yeah.
could take on that issue, and yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, he's a white supremacist," and it's just like, Jesus.
Like I like just okay, let's go to the Google. Oh my god, the first like literally the first result is the Southern Poverty Lull Center. V. Dare Peter Brimelow, a leading activist in the white nationalist anti-immigration movement, founder of VDare. I mean, VDare, like, to be brutally honest, they do publish legit white nationalists, but like,
Yes.
whatever. He was former Forbes editor
Yeah.
and National Review columnist, founded VDare in 1999. The site soon became a haven for anti-immigrant white nationalist commentator through the Trump era. Brimlow and VDare had further cozied up with the white nationalist fringe. So to the Southern Poverty Lull Center, it's not like being a white nationalist, it's just cozying up to them is enough to get you um and then he like I so in 2017 I guess Brimlow just had enough, so he went to an American Renaissance conference, and so there you go.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah, exactly.
In the
So
eyes of the regime, that'll
yeah,
definitely do it.
yeah.
I mean, that's what did it. That's what did it in for Sam Francis.
Yeah, he went to Amran with Kevin McDonald. Over prominent white national computers, Unite the Right organizer Jason Kessler, who writes for the site about legal issues. Well, I think publishing Jason Kessler, that's probably not very. That's
that's a name I haven't heard in forever.
He's got this like he has this like crazy like Gab presence where he talks about like having sex with women or something. I don't know. Like he's not. I don't know. I guess like being harassed by the state like broke his brain. But yeah, I mean, okay, but at the same time, like, okay, whatever, it's an optical, but like, does that mean like having the full brunt of the state going after you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
okay, like both of us, we probably would never publish in VDare, whatever, right? But like, I don't know. I can't speak for you, Prude, but like,
I don't see myself going.
I don't see yourself being published in VDare anytime soon.
No, even if I agree that immigration is out of control and that like deportations that need to happen, I don't see myself getting published there anytime soon. Nor am I angling to get published there.
But you know, that's the problem, because like they do have like quality writers, like, you know, like James Kirkpatrick. You know, it's just that it's just like they're.
But also,
like,
James Kirkpatrick is a white nationalist.
Yeah. But I'm saying like the problem is like there are like quality thinkers that are unfortunately, you know, they want to like say like, oh, all of you are in the clown car together sort of deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? But like, that being said, like, even when you like hear what certain guys say, it's like, it's not really, it wouldn't have been radical in say 1995 or even like 2005. It's just that, you know, I mean, now you get your, like, the whole apparatus of activism is against you. But so, but anyways, yeah, so maybe we shouldn't talk further about this. What I really wanted to talk about, listen. I mean, I'm not like, it's like when you start talking about it, then it's sort of like certain discourses are better off to ignore because you're going to upset people either way.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like the whole like white nationalist thing, like it's just like, I don't know. Like I'm not the model picture of a, you know, heritage Canadian, right? So my mother's an Ellis Islander.
I mean, I think the safe thing to say, and I think the obvious thing to say is that, you know, everything that they, and I mean, this is something that others have, I mean, just look at how, well, you just mentioned Charlie Kirk earlier, Fed posting on a show and talking about like that the Democrats' strategy is literally to replace like white voters in this country so they can stay in power forever. At a certain point, you come to the recognition that, hey, you know, the guys on this side of this discussion, I think they had their victory. It may be a little too late, and it feels like it's a little too late.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they were right on this one.
Well,
However unfortunate that may be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as much as you could like look at those, a lot of those clowns, right? Like at the end of the day, they, you know, like the movement, quote unquote, wasn't going to go anywhere, I don't think. But in terms of like
the idea did.
The idea, but the more moderate version of those ideas, I think, do have power because it is reality. It is reality that like we all know, like, okay, maybe if there's not a conscious thing there, we do know that like there is a particular hatred for what Europeans have built. And there is a particular thing about voting patterns. It's like I think you can sell a lot of truth to normies without being bombastic, without being like the aesthetics of like when people think of that term white supremacist. What do you think? You think of like the you think of like a
Well,
Tom
you
Metzger
used to
rally, you know what I mean?
you would
Yeah.
used to think of a Klan rally, and now
Or you
it's
think of Seville, or
or
you
you
know
think
what I
of
mean?
you
Yeah.
think of 2017.
But I think that if you know what I mean, like I think that's why they probably a lot of like regime people who are more smart, that's smarter than the average activist on the ground, throwing bricks at windows and punching Richard Spencer in the face. I think like they're more worried about people like Tucker Carlson because, or like Charlie Kirk, because it's like,
Well, they're terrified of Chris Rufo, and he's just a
yeah,
colorblind meritocratic liberal.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Like
Because they don't
colorblind
have,
meritocracy circa 1995 is apparently, white supremacy to these people. This is
when I
how
think of white
extreme.
supremacy, I think of an anime profile picture.
Yeah, well,
No, but like, I mean, no, I mean,
we
like,
do on Twitter.com, but I mean,
I
to
mean,
these,
like when the average normie, when they hear that term white supremacy, they think of like a Tom Metzger type of rally. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But like they're terrified of people like Tucker. I think the smarter ones are because they know that they don't have the same baggage or affectation as what they call like quote unquote white nationalism 1.0. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's very easy when you tell people that for a variety of economic, cultural, or ethnic and political reasons, and even religious reasons or whatever, why you don't want to have complete open borders. Like it's very easy to even sell to people who are probably Mexican who have been here for a long time. Like that's like the Texas, that's like you said, the Texas Republican Party, right?
yeah.
Um,
Well, the Republican Party in El Paso County, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I think like that's what they're terrified of because I think like the age of the clown show is over and the age of like a serious right wing politics is upon them, and they're terrified of that. Another thing I think, which is more to get off this topic, um, but in a similar vein, I feel would be the interview with Julian Assange's wife. Oh yeah, so Lydia is Peter's second wife. His first wife, Margaret, who is a Newfoundlander, a Newfie, unfortunately died.
oh, that's
Um,
unfortunate.
that's very unfortunate. Has three kids with the former and twos with the latter. Well, can't blame him. So Julian Assange's wife was also interviewed by Tuckler, and that I think is also very important because she mentioned how I have to say carefully the alleged plot to redact Assange by Mike Pompeo, the absolutely insane former head of the CIA, uh, was actually thwarted by journalists who still had some sympathy during the Obama administration with Julian Assange because of what he did during W. And I had this mini thread on Twitter, this like, short, long post
Yeah,
where I said that it's terrifying when you think about it, because if that were to happen nowadays, no journalist would publish that because now Julian is smeared with he's a MAGAist and he is sympathetic to the right wing because of the Hillary Clinton emails. And when you think about it, information that could affect the lives of millions of people simply won't get published because the source is impure. And because, therefore, if it in some slight way benefits the right wing, they can't publish it because it's like they just can't, okay? Like, think of it, the information that WikiLeaks has provided has affected millions of people. But now that won't go to air because of this political state of exception that people to the right of like, AOC are placed under. So I think like that's incredibly dangerous. Julian probably would have ended up redacted if it was
did you see
only,
that the report
yeah.
that came out? I'm sure this is old news too, but like when Hillary Clinton, she had just blatantly asked, "Can we just drone strike this guy?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I
unironically, and
cannot.
everyone thought she was laughing at first, and then she was like, "No, I'm serious. Like, can't we just like drone him?"
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hold that thought, Javier, for when we discuss. I want to talk about that. But no, exactly, no, 100%. Like then you had like we know that Brennan was like a legitimate communist, and it's just like I
Well, I
think
mean,
it's,
and all those guys are on Twitter just openly talking about how they want to kill.
yeah,
Like they get to Fed post all the time because they work for the security state and they have no problem
exactly.
telling you that like you are a threat to my idea of what America is and what power is and what government is. And so, yeah, I will redact you writ large because I have sold my soul to do this. And um, it reminds me of that sort of line from Marty Phillips's Millennium about the sergeant who's just like, listen, America's an idea. If we die for it, like the progress continues on. We are the,
Yeah,
we are the blood that, waters the tree to grow it further, even though that means total progressivism, right? They have no problem doing that. That's the way that the game is going to get played.
exactly, 100%. And but that's the scary part of it is because like it's like the Google thing. Like there will be no free public information anymore.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Um there will be no exchange of information that could potentially affect the lives of millions of people as we've known with previous events of the last 3 years. Um that it's incredibly scary because it is like, but at the same time I don't want to fall into the mistake of the more conservative side of the boomer truth regime, which is that there is this appeal to a open civil society. That's all a lie. There never was such a thing. Nor is that ideal any good, the way that Karl Popper has laid out for it. Um, but I think that the common colloquial understanding of what a open society is, that was always a lie, probably was never going to happen anyways. And the brief period post World War II of a high social trust, more or less homogenous society, and more or less accurate media, that is like a thing of the past.
Yeah, that's all
And
gone.
it's all gone. And not only is it a thing of the past, not only was it probably a lie to begin with, but I think that the fact that you have people playing fast and loose, and this is what really the dichotomy during the Clownvidian era really exposed, is because even even like a total like smooth brain like Justin Trudeau had this thing the other day, this appearance in the media where he's talking about how there are people that have disinformation and conspiracies that want to go,
That
they're in their,
undermine the mainstream media.
that undermine a consensus of facts that we have to participate in. They are in their bubbles and they want to drag people into their bubbles. But how are you going to do that? Prevent that? You're going to censor people and you're going to harass people like me or like others. You know what I mean? So what the Clownvidian era really revealed is that there is this supreme cognitive dissonance between the elites and what they put out in the public stratosphere in terms of information. To
Yeah.
them, they say that their value is free and open information. That is the supreme public value. But when it comes to the rubber meeting the road, we have to censor you because of disinformation. We don't really believe in this free exchange of public information. And also the emphatic predicate of worth on quote unquote vital public health information or vital political information or vital information for voters, like they did with Ricky Vaughn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all bullshit because their predication of worth on their emphatic praise of we need public information because we know that in our era, in the digital information age, information costs people's lives. But when it comes to censoring information, we have to do it because it's a public good. And we can determine through our expertism what is a public good, what is good information, and what is bad information. But notice that term, misinformation and bad information. By definition, information is inert, is it not? It's a data point. But when we say that some information is harmful misinformation, then it's not really inert. It's not, it is not a neutral data point. How can information be bad or good? That's a humanization, an anthropomorphization of something that is by definition an inert property. How is a chair good or bad?
Well, and
Right?
this just goes back to the myth that has clearly died, which is that there is no such thing as a neutral
Right.
institution.
Well, a chair can be good or bad based on functionality. If a chair is giving you sciatica because you're sitting on it hours and hours a day, then you should probably get another chair. Same
Yeah.
with information. Information has a input output mechanism It should have a form of functionality. But who determines that functionality? That chair can be good for you, but it could be bad for me. You know what I'm saying here? So to place this like moral Girardian panic over information is ridiculous. But unfortunately, most people are conned when you say that, oh, this information is going to lead to people dying or whatever, or it's going to lead to people not being voting, not having proper voting information. It's like, it's ridiculous, right? But yeah, I've ranted enough. So you go ahead.
No. I mean, like all this is true. And
Did you watch the Assange interview?
I did not. I watched the Trudeau clip that you were referring to.
Mhm.
And I mean, you guys have it far worse than we do in a lot of
Yeah,
respects, just because there is no federalism to an extent that, or First Amendment that we have. But I
yeah,
mean, it is just there is no public consensus anymore. There
right,
used to be a public consensus, but we have turned we've reinvented like our intermediaries for what is truth, what is facts. You know, it's not just Walter Cronkite or Tom Brokaw or anyone who used to be big on television. You know, like now it can be anybody. And
yeah,
because you disintermediate from regime sources or from government sources or from official consensus reporting, trust the science, etc., that is incredibly dangerous to how the traditional nation state and its government works. Like, I mean, even in America, right? Like, you can ask yourself, does the government we have work today in the age of, like, 5G internet and intercontinental nuclear weapons?
right,
Whereas the Constitution was designed with like, pony and rural gravel roads and the buggy, right? Like that's a valid point to raise, right? And if you're trying to think like a state and see the world like a state, all of a sudden having a population that doesn't necessarily trust you and agree with you or see that your measures are true in the face of facts that you do not control and that data of course can be easily manipulated, like that's a huge panic button for any existential crises, right?
right,
And
right,
this is why, again, captive moderation breeds controllable dysfunction. So if there's a captive moderation of an idea and you have a
right,
certain subset of those ideas that are listened by people, this is how you get anarcho tyranny. Like right
right.
101. Like, oh, Mitt Romney's going to put y'all back in chains, to throw back to 2012. Well, what is that telling black people? That this election, as with every election, is existential to your entire mytho ethnic narrative of being a black American,
Yeah,
that
victimhood and
slavery
so
will
forth. Yeah,
return and everything like that. Which is why, you see boomer cons say like, oh, Democrats have blacks on their plantation. And it's just like, well, yeah, because,
Democrat, the demon craps are communists.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
Well, they are, but like,
well, they
not in the
are
way,
like,
that Brezhnev was a communist. You know what
well,
I
I mean,
mean? You know?
boomer cons are right about a lot of things. It's just that
Yeah,
they're the most important things they're wrong on. Like,
yeah, yeah.
like the boomer cons are right about a lot of stuff. They're just wrong on how to approach those issues. But anyways, like the thing about it was just listening to all this. What he is basically like what Trudeau is saying, and the same thing that you hear Letitia James or Kate Hochul or any of the other Democrats in the United States. It's just that there are people in here who fundamentally do not believe with the progressive mission that we have signed you on for. This is an existential threat to us. And I don't mean this in the whole wake up the normie sense, but I mean,
Right,
if there are enough people out there that have money and power and means to do things, that's a threat. And I cannot let you, the ordinary person, donate, into support of that. I mean, like for God's sake, there's a firefighter in Fairfax, Virginia, who got doxxed and fired from his job for donating to Kyle Rittenhouse's legal fund. Like, they don't want anyone dissenting. Like,
yeah.
even if you want to call it grift, send, go, or glow or whatever, like, even still,
Grift, scam, glow.
can't
Yeah,
have that, right? You can't have it. I mean, and
it's
it does,
unfortunate
it does
because
illustrate the dire state of things.
oh yeah, no, but it's unfortunate that there are like scamsters that go on gifts and go that like have like miracle cures that are like objectively scamming old people or people dying of cancer. Like that is unfortunate. They should have some quality control without
I
like outright
agree.
censoring political people.
I agree
Like
with that
that's
wholeheartedly.
I know I'm contradicting myself, but that's an actual real example of medical and misinformation. Because if you're claiming that like this like gypsum salt can cure cancer, that's probably not good.
Well,
That is like legitimate
and what's worse is that it's
misinformation.
all over, like, and this is
Yeah,
why it's so unfortunate to see, um, like how Facebook is just nothing but boomers now.
yeah,
Because, like, um,
it's terrible.
my iconography teacher has successfully battled cancer,
Yeah,
over the course of the last couple of years, and she complains to me all the time. She's just like, I'm in some of these, like, cancer support groups on Facebook, and a lot of these people are my age or older. She's in her, like, very early 60s, and she's just like, you cannot believe how many people just say, "Screw it, I'm gonna do my own thing," and they try all these, like, crazy herbal
herbs
stuff.
and yeah,
And again, on one hand, I understand the desire to do it because you
especially
are
if you're at your last end, you
well,
know.
if you're at your last end, but also because it's not like the pharmaceutical industry is a very trustworthy institution.
No, of course, yeah.
But also, like, there are a lot of treatments and therapies that have been done that improve it, and a lot of people will
And
go out of
there's a
their
lot of
way,
scamsters out
and there
there
are a lot of
too.
scamsters and a lot of predatory things. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
that's one area where I'm like, if there was a normal civil society again, that would be the kind of stuff as a government I would crack down on.
yeah,
But instead, I have to ensure, I have the opportunity to,
yeah.
you know, speak my mind.
Well, Philip is correct. Information is not a data point, but a continuum metaphor thing abstraction. Well,
Yes.
that's what I was saying though, is that data, I mean, even data, like what qualifies data, what data pertains to, like, yeah, an ongoing morphological entity. It is a hyper object, but I'm just saying that for simplicity's sake, like, data does have a beginning and an end. You know what I mean? Like, there's junk data. There is data that it maybe isn't helpful to a particular model of finding facts or whatever. Um, and of course, dataism being worshipped is a very negative thing. I mean, read Byung
Yeah.
Chul Han. That's all I have to say. But this leads into our
The
discussion. I
other
think
the other philosopher in the leather jacket talks about this.
exactly. But I think this does lead into what we were going to talk about with Starship Troopers is this whole, which I think we'll probably spend more time with Ironclad because frankly, I'm kind of burnt out with the Starship Troopers discourse.
I didn't
But
participate in it, so I really don't care how long we spend on it.
yeah, Griff scam glow are cheaper than scams in the doctor's office. Yeah, it's true. Well, it's like if you really
I don't need an insurance card for grift, scam, glow,
I
miracle
remember
cures.
I remember a Schwab space where someone said about like the real apothecary is just taking like gas station pills for different things. Like it's like you have a whole pharmacy of just gas station pills. It's like I'll never forget that one.
I can just imagine some, like, National Enquirer level of, like, a fake
Right wing
headline where it's just,
bodybuilders are taking
or
gas
just
station
like, "Man cures cancer with gas station dick pills."
yeah, like all those like untested
All those untested products that say,
from
like, "Last harder and longer, rhino energy," or
yeah,
whatever, and it's just like, "I
horny
cured
goat.
cancer with dick pills."
Like it's yeah, all those like things that you see in the front of a guy from job in the gas station, just like untested Chinese vapes and all sorts of pills, hair treatments, dick pills, Rhino 69XL.
I'm sure he's listing something that's real.
No, I think that's an actual pill. Rhino 69XL, horny goat weed. Yeah, horny goat weed. Oh God, please, whatever you do not take horny goat weed. Do not take those synthetic, please. If you gotta like
Are you
if you have a
speaking from
problem,
experience, or
no,
are you
people that have I know of people that
okay, okay.
no, it's not good. Well, because like then you have like that synthetic weed.
Gio rips open a tab of, like, horny goat weed dick pills, and he's like, "Alright, guys, the goon cave starts now."
I'm gonna I'm gonna do this like weirdo Hunter S. Thompson gonzo journalism of taking yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Los
No,
Goon.
not horny goat, but like I remember gas stations were selling synthetic weed. They had a
Oh,
name
yeah.
for it. It was like spice or whatever.
Yeah, it was back when
Um,
spice was a thing.
yeah, I think they had to crack down because the kids were going crazy.
Well,
Um,
they literally they would die, like, in really horrific ways.
yeah, horny goat. Horny goat weed uses side effects: Epidenium sagittatum, flavored plant berberry family native to China, known locally as I can't read that. And sometimes called horny goat weed for purported aphrodisiac properties. Does it actually work though? I wonder though if it's just like I shouldn't say it's just an herb because there's plenty of herbs that can severely affect you, like
Oh
people
yeah,
that take Datura, J weed,
I don't know what that is actually.
Jimson, Datura. You never
Oh
heard of Datura? Yeah, yeah.
no, okay.
There are people that like, yeah. There are plenty of natural things that can kill you. Like it's not, people say natural. It is kind of a fallacy because there are like natural
Yeah, there are
things that
plenty of
probably,
natural things that can kill you.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hemlock is natural.
Yeah.
Bugs
I
are
mean,
natural.
even, simple can stuff like Pepto-Bismol can kill you.
Really?
It can, depending on what medications you're on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, like, depending on your health, right? Like, even ordinary things can be disastrous. In the
Were
same
you?
way that, like, people, like, can, like, cause liver and kidney failure by just, like, going too hard on ibuprofen.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. No,
Like,
have you?
it's remarkably easy for you to kill yourself. I'm not saying that as an endorsement factor. I'm just saying, like, seriously, pay attention to what the hell you put into your body.
Were you one of those millennials that would lurk the Airwad Experience Vault? Do you guys remember the
No.
press E in the chat if you remember the Airwad Experience Vault? Do you guys remember this? The Experience Vault? I remember those. Those stories were crazy. You know what's funny is that you'll have like low effort YouTubers that'll like have they'll read the Airwid Experience Vault. So press E in the chat for the Airwid Experience Vault. That was crazy. Some of those stories were crazy. They were kind of poetic, some of them. I mean, I'm sure some people were lying or whatever, but like Airwid, yeah, it's Airwid. Sorry, Airwid. I remember
Mm.
my friend, we would like look at that back in the day. I think it's still up though. You can still find the archive. Um,
I'm sure
you don't
someone has
know
preserved it.
Seneca, you don't know what Arrowhead is? It was like all the drug information. It was very popular among hippie millennials. Yes, also press someone press C in the chat. Press C in the chat. Shorgy, you know what Arrowhead is? You people, you Zoomers disgust me. I'm sorry, but
You Zoomers disgust me for
I'm
not knowing
kidding.
about a drug experience form.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was one
Yeah,
of the
well,
first websites I ever visited back in GeoCities. Where is it?
this explains a lot.
Irwin Spangler.
Oh my.
Irving Spangler. Is that a play on Irving Crystal? Can you
Or
imagine if you had like if can you imagine you had
that'd be a fun gimmick account, like an
Irving Spangler?
Irving Spangler or Bill Crystal Graper. Be
Oh my
fun.
god. Who would be the neocon equivalent of Spangler?
I
Henry
don't know if there
Kissinger?
isn't. I don't know if there is one, and I don't know if you could even call Kissinger. No, I don't think you can call Kissinger
A
neocon.
neocon?
I don't
No,
know
you
if
can't
he's.
call him a
I
neocon.
don't think he would be one. Also, by the time that like the neocon movement is we know it takes off, Kissinger is out of any official government capacity outside of I
True.
think an advisory role in one place. But even then, he only left that.
Huntington?
He only well, Huntington. I don't know if you can call him a
The
neocon.
neocon Spangler?
I don't know if you can call him a neocon though. I don't know what Huntington was a. He worked more for the. He worked in the Carter administration. I don't think you could call him that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm now literally looking this up because I wouldn't have ever considered him a neocon.
We must secure the go wad, but it's over the Rhino whatever plant they put into the Rhino 69 pills. We must secure the Rhino 69 fields. You have like the American military guarding
Yeah, instead of
the
the poppy
Hornigo fields.
fields. Yeah, instead of the poppy fields. You could do a lot of fun with like mid-journey AI art to do that. Just like,
Yeah.
instead of American soldiers in Afghanistan defending poppy fields, it's American soldiers defending like aphrodisiac farms or whatever.
Yeah. I wondered, I should tweet that. What is the neocon Oswald Spangler? That'd be funny. Bethio Wendo blonde trad wife in the Rhino 69 fields. Oh my god.
That's pretty funny.
I have to look this up. Rhino 69 power 5000K contains hidden drug ingredients.
This is why I'm so glad we don't have a Clips channel.
On Canada.co, unauthorized sexual enhancement drugs may possess serious health risks, various health problems, products promoted for sexual enhancement, unauthorized, stop using. Oh, look at the cover packaging. That's some crazy.
Are you going to show it on screen or no?
No, I can't show it on screen. There's one that has like a Black Panther #1. That's not racially coded whatsoever. Ginseng 2000. Oh, it's just I guess you could probably have the ginseng pill.
Well, you ginseng on your own.
Can you imagine like not? I know like Monster Energy has a lot of ginseng. Imagine like knocking back like 3 monsters when you're with your GF or whoever, your wife.
I'm just thinking of like the 30-year-old boomer meme where he like cracks open a white monster and he's like, "Yep,
time to go.
I'm gonna be with the missus tonight." You know, gives you a weird wink outside the grill.
There's one called 777K. I wonder if Thomas takes that when he's one with his tops 80s.
No,
I wonder.
He doesn't need that.
There's a legitimate dick pill called 777K. That's incredible.
Gio,
alien power.
You must really not want to dive into the movies we're talking about.
Oh my god. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so
let's just get the Starship Troopers over with before you read every dick pill that's ever been made.
Gio, do you remember the Blue Light forums? I think I remember the Blue Light forums. I remember the Blue Light forums. Was a Reach Portal online community dedicated to harm reduction and drug use. Yeah, Blue Light was basically like Irowad. So anyways, to lead into disinformation talk, also the media literacy debate. Super long lasting Geo 69,000.
Oh, that's funny.
It'll just be like what enough from Brazil. It'll just be that.
Oh my gosh. You kill me.
Irowad. No, it's Irowid. Sorry, where is it? 420 Chin Delirium board was crazy. Yeah.
That's true. That it was.
I can't believe you Zoomers aren't up on your drug. Like, I guess the 2000s new age.
No. Hold the phone right there. I can't believe you Zoomers aren't up on your drug forums from the 2000s. That really, Gio? Really? I think that's more of an indictment on you than them, but
oh my god. This is why people love us, man. This is why I think Digital Archipelago gets like more than our native podcasts at this point.
Well, for live shows, this does get more views.
Yeah.
But anyways, international relations.
Speaking of disinformation, I wrote about, so you can find in my Substack, I published this on Tuesday, the obsession over media literacy. So I think we're gonna like
it's an awful term.
Yeah. But Starship Troopers does stray so far significantly from the book by Heinlein about Starship Troopers.
Paul Verhoeven has said on more than several occasions that he never read the book.
Yeah.
Or had someone give him a Cliff Note version of it.
You know what's a more hilarious example of that? Was when Marlon Brando, he demanded that he do all of his own lines for Apocalypse Now, but he admitted that he never read The Heart of Darkness. And so Francis Ford Coppola was like ripping his hair out, so he had to like read him passages. Then he would like come up with lines. Then like for a time, like for 3 days straight, like Marlon Brando would just like wander off the set. He's like, I can't think of lines today. And he would just like disappear for 3 days. And so like Francis Ford Coppola's like he's having a panic attack. He's like, how are we gonna finish this movie? finish. And it was like millions of dollars over budget. So then Francis Ford Coppola was like, if Apocalypse Now didn't become an instant classic, the film studio, my career would have been done. The film studio would just destroy me. It would be over.
Oh my gosh.
And Brando would just like walk up. Then he was also expecting like this felt like Brando, but he came in like a like obese, and he's like, "What am I gonna do?" Colonel Kurtz is supposed to have been through like the special forces at the age of 30. Like, what am I gonna do?
Instead, I have this fat bastard.
This fat lazy guy. And so he's like, let's just film him all dark. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the heart of darkness. Just film him in dark. Nobody will have to see his body ever. Oh my god! Like that documentary, a filmmaker's apocalypse, is wild. It's
wild. Absolutely insane.
Oh man. What do you think of Sofia? Oh, I was gonna say, what do you think of Sofia Coppola? But like, maybe we'll review a Sofia Coppola film one day.
We could do that. I feel like we wouldn't be talking about dick pills as much when we do that.
True, but anyways, so I think like Starship Troopers is a pretty linear film. My point in my article was that when you're a kid, as a millennial or a Zoomer, whatever, and you're watching Starship Troopers on a movie channel late at night, what are you thinking of? You're thinking,
wow, this is cool. I want to go kill aliens.
Exactly. I want to be like Casper Van Dien. I want to be a Giga Chad. I want to have sex with Denise Richards or with what's her name, Meyer. Like, I'm not thinking of like, oh, the horrors of war. Oh, and my point was that all these like soillennial, bugmen, irony leftists that are talking about media literacy, they're saying that, oh, you have a wrong interpretation of it. But for years before, for decades before, actually, when they were preaching about the death of the author, and also they're saying that, oh, you're getting a misinterpretation of things. It just doesn't make any sense because the target audience is not thinking of this like deep parodying a deeply militaristic Heinlein novel by talking about the horrors of war and how Earth is losing and how, don't you know that we provoked the aliens to level Buenos Aires? Like, no, when you're a kid watching Starship Troopers, you're thinking about how much of a Giga Chad Casper Van Dien is, and you're thinking about destroying hideous aliens.
Yeah,
and even the nerd, even the alpha nerd of what's his name?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris, like he's an alpha nerd. He's smart, but he's vicious. And so every millennial, every Zoomer that watched that when they were a kid could have a character they identify with. Even women can identify with this, sexy girl boss. They're just as equal as men. They're soldiers. Like it's. But no, it's like, oh no, it's
I think it was like Pox Populi who had a tweet the other day who was just like me trying to find the fascism in Starship Troopers with co-ed sports, like a non-sex or racially segregated military, and it was just like, almost as if Verhoeven missed the point. And I mean, even in Heinlein's Starship Troopers, it's more about political, like liberal political realism than it is anything else. I mean, he's calling out Marxism, he's calling out mass popular social democracy. It's not like you're watching or even reading a story where, fascism bad. It's no. I mean, please read the text, but again, Verhoeven didn't do it. And then with respects to the movie, it's just like, I'm not here to sympathize with the bugs. I'm here to watch a movie where I think about killing aliens and getting the girl. And it's so disjumbled and messy anyways, because it's just like, well, Johnny Rico is an absolute moron, and he's an emotionally like flatwood character. I mean, he's like borderline, just stupid.
Yeah.
35% on the math test. He's got the absolute just like worst thing going for him in his life. The military was really all he had going for him at this point.
Yeah. Heckin' wholesome bungus. Yeah, there you go. No, but I think another thing too is that Heinlein, and I said this a bit in the article, like Heinlein was incredibly more politically inventive than any of these libs and Verhoeven himself, in that like he realized that okay, so Heinlein at the time, he was a veteran. He was deeply enamored with the hippies and free love, and he wrote Stranger in a Strange Land, which is like the elites have the sex cult, so let's start it. So I'm going to start my own sex cult, and I'm going to take over the elites. And so it's like, he was a very weird guy, but he had this realization that all of the excesses that you'd find in Western civilization up until that point, all of the free love, all of the egalitarianism, all of the experimentations with various substances and so forth, all of that has to be ensured by this like weirdo authoritarian upper apparatus that is, apart from that society, but also ensures the security of that social order. So it's very politically inventive. It's not exactly fascism. It's not exactly communism. It's not exactly liberalism. It's something entirely different. And I think like this critique of it, because these leftoids that look at, oh, it's the dangers of war, and they made this film before Gowad and all blah blah blah. It's like they're not really seeing the actual.
When the left does the
Yeah.
predictive programming posting.
Well, the
But
thing is,
no,
like,
I mean this was a point that was made by others, because like the death of the author was the big deal, that like everyone's been
yes,
talking about this, but as soon as someone makes the obvious point that like, well, people don't really care what Verhoeven's intent was behind this film,
yes.
it fell flat on its face, and I can prove it to you. Like at a certain point, this stops mattering at all. And but then of course they get upset because it's like, oh, like the power of cool really does go a long way.
Well, there's a
And
greater aesthetic truth than there is a subversive parody that you
yeah,
have to like work to fight to get to. But that behooves you, because what is the midwit filter here? Is it to say that, oh, this deeper meaning, this media literacy that you must factor into authorial intention, that's the real thing, that's enjoyable? Or is it that, and therefore you have to degrade this like this other aesthetic truth that people get immediately? Or is it to say that the work of art or cinema or literature, I just call it the work of art in general, it has an immediate sensuous truth that is intuited by most people, and therefore that is also in this greater tapestry that we call the intertextual truth of a piece of artwork? You can't exclude one or the other. But if you're like an irony leftist saying that, and you're using this as like a cheap own to say that, oh, don't you know that Verhoeven has this deeper intention to parody the fashy militarism of Starship Troopers, that is excluding this other aesthetic truth that when you are a kid watching is just as real to the film as anything else. And I think that is what the culture war that sparked up through this Isaac Young thread that went mega viral, had like millions of views, 6 million views last I saw. Like that's what the war is over. And so it's funny
was that
because,
it failed as parody, which it did.
yeah,
Because
exactly. Yeah,
people
it failed
identified with it, and I mean, even the actor, Casper Van Dien, was just like, there's not a day goes by where I'm not walking in the street and someone recognizes me and calls me Johnny Rico. Like,
yeah,
sorry, like it's a cool movie and people like it and they're gonna identify with it. Sorry, that's what else is there to say on that issue.
yeah.
That's just
The-
the
the-
nature of how things are going to go. And I mean, the film itself, like, it's a campy, schlocky movie with
yeah,
great special effects and with a
amazing fight scenes.
amazing fight scenes. Great. I mean, like, you're there for the set pieces more than you are anything else.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
You're there for the set piece. In the same way to shill tomorrow's OGC thing, like we reviewed True Detective season 2, like at a certain point the plot doesn't matter so much because you're invested in like what these characters are going through. And I mean, like,
right.
Johnny Rico is just, he's a flat character, and why do I like him so much? Because like Johnny Rico is flat enough that like I can like see myself, and I can see the opportunity for me to be the one killing bugs and doing all that sorts of cool shit. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to be that guy? What like 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy doesn't want to see a pair of boobs on the television and think about killing aliens? Like, you just gave them like the ultimate male power fantasy, and they're upset that you identify that and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this boils down to.
No, because it would admit that, like, oh, that means fascism is cool. Like that's like their thought process. That if like there's any sort of, I don't want to say it because I think that a lot of people
You'll
in the
give
right,
you'll give them what they want.
well, give them what they want, but no, but I think that the deeper issue besides fascism is cool is that they, like, a lot of people on the political right, they kind of like the right wing bodybuilder types, they make this as too simplistic. But I do think that there is a truth when you say that, like, the current political left had, like, they took the Susan Sontag essay to heart, that like worshiping beauty, worshiping order, symmetry, good health, that's fascism, that's evil, that's right wing. Like that, there is a kernel of truth to that. There's more than a kernel of truth to that.
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
saw it the other day where it was like this little blip on the timeline where someone was saying, someone had quote tweeted some like leftist activist saying, "Oh, a fascist worked out today. Like, what did you do?" And then
Oh yeah,
someone was
that
just
one.
like,
And
"That's
then
incredibly
yeah,
ableist of you," and
you can't win.
you can't win, right?
What was
Like,
the Soviet Union? Were they like all like, no? There was like,
well, no, because the
yeah,
Soviet Union had the strong Soviet man. Like, there
yeah.
was a political vision for
Their
what the
women were
people should
depicted with
be.
muscles. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's not like as if our Soviet, like, if honestly if that were the case, we our the propaganda war would have been like, yeah, look at these like weak, soyish, lacking in masculinity Ivans, but that never happened. That was never the case.
no,
We had a much more serious and legitimate problem to deal with,
yeah,
which was, this is a competent military force that has a political ideology and formula and vision that says, like, you will be the new Soviet man. You're going to do this, even if it's not true, right? Like, even in
right.
reality, if we were to look at it on the propaganda front, it was a hyper masculine contest, right?
Well,
And
yeah,
it still is to some extent, but I mean, unfortunately, this goes back to the whole, again, captive moderation breeds controllable dysfunction. And what is the
mhm,
controllable dysfunction? It's the spiteful mutant, it's bio-Leninism, it's everything that this side of things talks about and that we take for granted as talking points, because we know it and we see it and we just watched it happen discursively over the last week and a half on the timeline
yeah.
over Starship Troopers. A movie from the 90s that everyone would tell you in general, like, oh yeah, it's schlocky, but like, I'll turn it on the TV with a
Got
beer
a
and some
fun fight
friends.
scenes.
It's a
Yeah,
fun fight scene. It's got
gun
cool,
fu. Yeah, yeah.
gun, special effects. It's always cool to see someone get their brain sucked out by an alien and realize that this is like a really fucked up love story. Well, there's not really a love story, but it's just like
There
all the
kind of
people,
is.
all,
Yeah,
all
there
the
is.
people that are a part of this are just like genuinely awful people. The her first time piloting, she nearly crashes the ship. And they're in love with the wrong people. Yeah, what else is there to say other than we just like witnessed the usual left versus right talking points
Yeah,
about beauty and strength and power happen on the timeline, and that was it.
that's what I
That's what
mean.
happened.
Though it's like sci-fi. I think with Heinlein though, sci-fi is much more politically inventive than a lot of other genres, and Heinlein really demonstrates that, and I think like that's what's was missed with the discourse, because it is this thing about like, okay, yeah, they're dysgenic, they love dysgenics, blah blah blah. But I think that there is, I think that sometimes, and I say this as an artist myself, but like sometimes the E-right does venture too far into like, I think even I believe ZHP even said today, he was quote tweeting someone, a follower of mine, talks about, we're going to ignore all their slop.
Yeah, and
We're
he
gonna
said that was
worship beauty.
postmodernism in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, yes, that is right wing postmodernism, and it's correct, and it's natural and right, to quote Bowden. But like, I think that we do. But okay, yes, it's right wing postmodernism. I've advocated for right wing postmodernism for a decade now, but I do think that there is something to be said that you can't get too carried away and an aesthetic truth, because that aesthetic truth has to reveal a higher metaphysical truth at the end of the day. And I feel
Yeah.
like I think this is also a problem with certain Giga Chad dialogues. I know, please don't give me any hate for this, but I'm saying that it's not just like worshiping power for its own sake, because
Reflects
that's
the criticism and not getting hate. Say it ain't so.
that's what I mean. I think that you can't venture too far into just worshiping an aesthetic truth, because that can also lead you astray. You know what I mean? So I think that that aesthetic truth has to have a higher spiritual truth at its base, but at the same time, an aesthetic truth can lead the way to a higher truth, the way that beauty can lead the way to truth, for
Yeah.
instance. And beauty cannot just be something that we can find sensually or erotically beautiful or architecturally beautiful, but something that is also like something that is even, even Schopenhauer said, something that can be disordered can be beautiful. A collapsed building can be beautiful in its own way, overtaken by nature and so forth. So I think that people, um, but at the end of the day, we've given too much breath to a very schlocky and poorly done 90s film. I remember Casper Van Dien was in this one film. It was called Hollywood Fleas. It had Vinnie Jones in it, and it had Brad Renfro and this Italian actress who did this series my old man watched called Corsica. Sorry, it's called Capri, not Corsica, Capri. It was
Mhm.
actually a great film, actually, even though it was like, a low budget thing. It was called Hollywood Fleas. It's like one of these made for TV movies of like this, they kidnap this girl, but then she falls in love with Brad Renfro. This is when Brad Renfro was ever before he died of a heroin overdose. Um, but yeah,
Many,
so
many such cases.
many such cases. Yeah.
A lot of 90s actors just killing themselves with heroin.
Well, a lot of them were set to be like on the level of Johnny Depp or whoever, like Brad Renfro, River Phoenix, but they just filtered themselves, unfortunately, with the excesses of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, I think that we shouldn't give any more breath to these people. We should actually focus on a quality film, a film that actually does have meaning, a film that actually is. I was
I
actually
still can't
shocked.
believe that movie got made.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
yeah,
it's a family drama, it's a white family in 2023. Like,
yeah,
I get it, it's a biographical kind of film, but,
yeah.
um, my friend, who used to be, in the scene, he stopped because he's in law school now, but, he was telling me over about it over, a post-liturgy coffee hour. He's like, "You gotta watch The Iron Claw," and I was like, "Is it any good?" And he's like, "Man, it's like the whitest film I've ever seen in, like, the last 3 years."
He's in
And
law school now.
yeah, he's in law school. Yeah, he's in law school now. He's doing good for himself, though. He's a good guy. Um, Funny poster. But anyways, like, I watched the film, and that's what we're talking about now. Is The Iron Claw came out last year. Really great movie, and Zac Efron can really fucking act.
Yeah.
Like, well done, well done.
He,
I haven't been this happy with a movie in a very long time.
yeah, I was turned off by the Zac Efron thing, but like he can actually act. Like I remember watching him in a film. It was another
You were
cheap
turned
film.
off by him? I thought he did a really great job.
No, I mean I was turned off by when I heard
Oh, him
Zac
as
Efron.
celebrity.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Zac Efron. But then I remember watching this film he did about. I think it was called. It was like in a future dystopian landscape where him and this guy find a hunk of gold while he's going to this mine to find a new life, and it's like him like wasting away in this desert. It was a great film, and I'm like,
Mm,
Zac Efron, that doesn't make any sense, right? But he's actually a serious actor, and so for those who don't know, Iron Claw uh depicts one of the craziest, one of the most tragic, and one of those meaningful stories in wrestling history, which is the Von Erich family. Started by the Patreon.com, so Sharon Productions. Started by the patriarch of the family, Fritz Von Erich. Of course, he changes his name to Von Erich because of this was during the Soviet Union days. This is during the Cold War. He is depicted as the evil foreigner Russian, but then
yeah.
he becomes such a beloved face in the Texas territory, because you have to remember Texas was divided by territories, and so Texas, his area of Houston, sorry, Dallas. He owned the Dallas territory. I believe what was the other wrestling family in Texas? The Funks, Terry Funk, his father, Dory Funk Sr., owns another part of Texas near Amarillo. And so he becomes a megastar in the territories. He's one of, I believe, the first legitimate American wrestlers to make it big in Japan. He has these famous wars with Giant Baba, who is the owner of All Japan Pro Wrestling. And he becomes this huge star. And so for a time, the Von Erich family, they were like the sons of Texas. Like you couldn't go anywhere without, they couldn't go anywhere in Texas without people like harassing them for autographs or whatever. And of course, and it's debatable who the biggest one was. I notice, I think because he's the only surviving Von Erich, they focused on Kevin Von Erich the most. But of course, in terms of like the biggest star, I believe Kerry Von Erich was like the biggest star because he's the one that eventually made it to the WWF, which became the WWE, right? And he became the first one to become the IWA Heavyweight Championship, the 10 pounds of gold. And so, okay, so for those who don't know, back in the territory days, the NWA, until unfortunately Billy Corgan ran into the ground recently, the NWA was one of the biggest wrestling alliances because it was comprised of different territories cooperating together. And all of these owners that were in control of the NWA, whether it be Jim Crockett Productions, Sam Muchnick, the Funks, the Von Erichs, they came together and there was a council that decided who was going to be the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the 10 pounds of gold. And it had all the different flags on it from France, Japan, Puerto Rico, America, Canada, and they would decide who was going to become the champion. And of course, the biggest ones were Harley Race, then Ric Flair, and so forth. So the National Wrestling Alliance was the big deal before it was all eclipsed by Vince McMahon. This was the territory days. And of course, they had the biggest control of the Texas territory that Kevin Von Erich then later sold to Vince McMahon, right? So after Kerry Von Erich unfortunately sunsetted. Okay, so this is the wrestling background. And for a long time, Fritz Von Erich, he wanted to be the champion. He was primed to be the champion, but the politics would get in the way. They were like, oh, well, you're not selling good outside of Texas and so forth. And so, you had to make it over in Japan. And for many, many years, it was like Buddy Rogers, then it was Harley Race, then it was Ric Flair. And so the NWA title was controlled for, I believe Harley Race had like the longest run in all of pro wrestling with the title, with any significant title. I believe it was Harley Race. Or it may have been Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. I forget. I think it was Harley Race. And so the film depicts in the mid 70s to 80s the rise and fall of the Von Erichs. And it's a family tragedy. It's about masculinity in crisis. And it's ultimately a positive depiction, even though the negative depictions of Fritz Von Erich, like lording wrestling over his family, all of his sons were driven to perfection. The family drama around a very physical and violent sport being an obsession, all of that gives way to the positive message of sacrificing as a man for family. And I cried at the end. I literally shed tears at the end when he was with his two sons. And then, of course, his two sons became wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
Kevin Von, I believe they had some tapings recently in All Elite Wrestling, but I remember them when they were tag champions in MLW, when MLW still put their weekly show on YouTube. So that's like a multi-generational family legacy. But unfortunately, it's all centers around the Von Erich family curse. because all of them met tragic ends. All of them, except for Kevin Von Erich. He was the only one that managed to have a sustainable family life, to avoid a lot of the excesses of the wrestling industry the way that Kerry Von Erich couldn't have, because he was a party animal. He lost his foot in a motorcycle accident. Very, very tragic, very common wrestling story. It's very similar to Brian Pillman's story as well. So I think it's one of the most unique stories. And in a way, it didn't have to be about wrestling. It was a family drama with a patriarch and his sons struggling for his affection, a cold and distanced mother that knows the game. It was like a mafia drama almost. It was like very similar to a Sopranos-esque type of thing, but without like without the actual like mafia whatever violence. But it didn't even have to be about wrestling. It was a human drama. The only and so before you go ahead and do your thoughts, Prude, without being a wrestling fan, I want to hear your perspective. Sort of like if someone pays me $1,000 to review all of the Star Wars movies.
That'd be a lot of fun, actually, because
$1,000. I know I said 500, but
I love how that's the bounty you keep raising.
Yeah, no, but the one last thing, Prude.
Yeah.
Is it as good as Ready to Rumble? It's better than Ready to Rumble. Better than Ready to Rumble. The one thing I did not like about the film is they could have found a way better actor to play Ric Flair. That was a travesty. That was not Ric Flair. Okay, any guy that's been a wrestling fan for like any boomer that has been a wrestling fan for like 40, 50 years could have done a better Ric Flair impression at a bar. I did not like the Ric Flair guy. But that being said, okay, that's like one minor criticism, but the whole overall film, like it was incredible. It didn't even feel like 2 hours went by. It was like you were
it's like a 2 hour, 15-minute film, and it does
produced by A24, a 2-hour film.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It's not a bad movie in the slightest. Like, so I don't know anything about the whole wrestling world. You know that better.
Yeah,
than
you go ahead.
That's something you and AA have. But even if you don't know jack shit about wrestling, you're gonna walk away from this film and just you're gonna feel. I know that sounds like really cringe or whatever, but I mean, it's very hard for nowadays to find a good film that depicts interfamily drama, the role of a patriarch on his sons, the sort of pater familias, the obligation to the father, in which if your father tells you to do something, you are to do it. This is a man who feels, and they'll say in the film, like the world is taken from us. We are going to fight and take it back. And you're watching from the perspective of, well, he's not the oldest because the oldest one died very young, but
spoiler alert, that scene at the end with all the brothers, that made me cry.
It hit hard.
He crossed the lake on their family property over the other
side. All his brothers again. Yeah, it was really, really intense. The movie that I was first reminded of when I was watching this was the Netflix original. It was the Netflix adaptation of the novel "Devil All the Time" with Tom Holland, which was an odd pick. I'm doing a slight diversion here, but like that movie is 1950s, 60s, 70s white misery porn in Appalachia. And the narrator of the book, the narrator of the movie that tells stories and passages from the book is the author himself.
Wow.
The movie, that movie is just like one fucking tragedy, like right after the other. Like anything that could remotely go well goes horrible, and it just like shoves your face into the dirt, and you're supposed to feel bad. And this movie too, depicting the Von Elrichs and the family, is just, the first tragedy hits, and then you're like, oh, and then you're like, you watch everything just progressively get worse. And I mean, it's foreshadowed quite well because when Kevin's there with he's talking to Pam, eventually his wife, he's just like, it's a curse, and it's just like, this movie is going to be about the curse, and I don't know anything about it, and I know that I'm in for tragic ride. But I mean, just to see the father push his kids and to want them to be successful, to the degree where he doesn't consider the mental or physical toll that takes on
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to a point where,
There's
sorry,
no room for failure.
there's no room for failure. Like, failure is death. Even if and if you succeed, and even if success kills you, that's a better alternative than being a disappointment in your father's
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Like, as we see with Carrie, like, literally it kills him, whether it's from the
Oh,
drug
yeah. The
with the
drug
drug
abuse.
the drug abuse, or getting sick, or whatever ruptured his intestines, which I imagine was like
No,
drugs
no,
and
that was David Von Erich.
oh, David, okay. Well, whether it
He,
was drugs, was it
yeah,
drugs
he
and
was
booze
in
that killed him?
Japan. He was in all Japan, and then he
Yeah.
rubbed. Yeah.
Yeah, so it ruptured there. So I mean, like, the flight, the drugs, the booze probably all did it. But I mean, like, better to, like, fulfill your obligations than to take a sick day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um I just like, you're everything that could possibly go wrong in this family goes wrong, and there's a lot of suicide in this film.
Hmm.
But great, incredible acting performances, especially by Zac Efron and what's his name, the guy from Shameless. Um,
Oh.
his name is Jeremy Allen White,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he played Carrie, and
Yeah.
he did a great job. And then all of them did. It was really good. I don't know. Like, for me, it was just witnessing a family trying to just witness tragedy, and the oldest, well, he's not the oldest, but in this sense, yeah, Kevin is the oldest for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes. Just witnessing from the outside, because he never got the success to the degree his brothers did.
Yeah.
At least that's how the film portrays it. He was never as successful as brothers. He always was, like, passed up by, and we're watching from his perspective his father tear apart his younger brothers.
Yeah.
And this is very much male focused. Like, yes, there are a couple of there's Lily James, and there's Mara Tierney, who is the wife, the mother, and you really don't hear or see from them at all in this entire film. This is not about them. It was never about them at all. This is just about the brothers, the sons, the father, and the relationship that all of these men have to
Yeah.
one another.
Well,
And to
even like
watch
when
to
he
watch the
said,
brothers just, like, support each other, even
yeah.
knowing that they are being pushed to their absolute limits. That's you don't see that depicted anymore. Like, even if this is, very dysfunctional in a lot of ways, you don't see a positive depiction of familial tradition, honor thy father and mother, and do what must be done because you have an obligation, not because you don't want to do it. That doesn't exist anywhere else. I've not
Nope.
seen these family oriented ties and values promoted in a film in any recent movie in the last, like, 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
this
but
is an incredibly good movie, even if you're not a wrestling fan. I would
yeah.
recommend this to anybody.
Well, Woodpit says they should do one about Stu Hart and the Hart Foundation, the Hart family. That would be incredible. That would even be more incredible, I feel. But I don't think Bret Hart would ever want to do that, though. That's like it. There's a lot of drama and a lot of things that a lot of again, another wrestling family that was beset with drama, addiction, being screwed over by Vince McMahon. Like it's the death of Owen Hart, Jim Neidhart over ODing, an incredibly tough, incredibly demanding patriarch of Stu Hart that was really a pioneer in wrestling, the way that Fritz von Erich was. Like like this is why I am so pissed off at the soyification of wrestling, because it really is a human and masculine drama. You know what I mean? Like there was that one moment where Kevin was with his girlfriend who became his wife. He's like, well, the thing is, it's not fake. It's like in any other company. It's like you rise up because you're recognized as the best, that you put everything on the line, that you sacrifice. And so even though it's choreographed, I mean, there was that moment, and that actually did happen, by the way, where he had his title shot against Harley Race. And of course, Harley Race being in the Memphis, the Missouri to Memphis territory, he really shooted on him. He's like, I never felt a suplex like that. And it's like, that's how they test you. They make a work into a shoot, meaning they make it real, and you have to pass the test, and it's like that's the way they do it. And yeah, I want to see a movie about Roddy Piper. That's again another tragic figure who rose to the top. It's and it was beautiful because another thing too is that it is a masculine drama, it's a family drama, but it doesn't necessarily depict it as overtly like kitsch, like in a kitschy positive way.
No, it's not.
Because
It's not kitschy. It's I don't want
it
to. I
de-
know the word
yeah,
is loaded, but it does. Oh, fuck.
toxic
Like
masculinity.
well, yeah. I just hate how
Yeah.
loaded that fucking term is nowadays.
Yeah.
That's my issue. But
No,
like,
it
yeah,
depicts the
there is
downsides of a family
there is
patriarchal drama. Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
illustrate some of the like downsides of an overbearing patriarch because
Yeah.
again the woman is just his wife is just silent and doesn't say a damn word, and the only
She
time
knows the score. Yeah.
she knows the deal. She's not going to criticize it. And so the only time that we ever hear or see from her is her telling her sons, God loves you, do what must be done, and
Yeah.
I'm here for you. But she's never really there for her.
There was that one point where Kevin Von Erich said, "Hey, I don't. Maybe you got to tell Pa to go easy on Michael, who's the youngest and he's the most creative and less
Yeah,
strong one,
he's the
right?"
artistic one.
Yeah,
You know,
and
he's obsessed with Rush. They do Tom Sawyer's the music instruments for the Three Brothers.
yeah,
Uh,
yep,
but like, and the way he goes out is so fucking sad.
very incredibly sad. He shouldn't have. Like Kevin said, he's like, he shouldn't have been in the ring.
Yeah,
It was just to replace Michael. Or sorry, it was to replace who was it? The one that the blonde one that died in Japan. Was it Michael or was it
there was a
Yeah,
David.
it was David. Yeah, it was.
David.
He's just a replacement for David.
Just a
And
replacement for David.
yeah, and you know what's another thing too you have to realize is that Kevin Von Erich is, I believe, he's consulting on this film, and he's doing a memoir, and so there's a lot of like embarrassing moments of like, you don't want to admit that you were jealous of your dead brother. You don't want to admit that you felt bad for being passed over by your father, but he did it anyways. He could have, you know what I mean? So this is an honest film. Yeah, the story that Kevin Von Erich tells is heartbreaking. But in the end, but it was all worth it, in the end. But yeah, but you have to realize Kerry was a megastar at one point. Like
Yeah.
he was in the WWE, he was going to be the heavyweight champion. He had a run with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. But then incredibly unfortunate. They say he was never the same when his brother died. And
Oh no,
yeah,
no one's ever the same after a
no.
sibling dies.
Oh,
or,
and when
or a
Michael
mother or father.
when Michael he purposefully OD'd on pills. He said he was never the same when Michael was
Yeah,
around.
that one killed me the most
Yeah,
because he had
got injured, had
he
septic
had gotten
shock.
he'd gotten injured. He had toxic shock syndrome from sepsis, had brain damage from said sepsis because of a fever at over 107 for over an hour. They brought him back down. You can tell he's clearly mentally defective.
Yeah,
And like they still had him in front of the airwaves on the press conference. And he's like, so now he's injured. He's mentally not all there. And he literally just tells his mom, I'm scared. And no one does anything really about it other than like, what you have to do to impress your father.
yeah.
And he looks like a very young man, like what, 18, 17, 19?
He only died when he was, I believe, 23.
Okay, 23. Well, he looks younger than 23 in the movie.
Yeah,
Like you see a very boyish figure overdose, and then just like walk out into the field to die. And it's brutal.
it's very brutal. Yeah,
Like I was like, oh, yeah, I was a little fucked up by
and
that.
and you have to remember that in 1993, Kerry Von Erich took a lead pill under the same tree on the family property that his brother died in. That is incredibly gutting. That You have no words for it. No, like nobody can understand that unless you've been through it. You know what I mean? The way it was depicted when, to fast forward to Carrie, when Kevin found Carrie and literally was strangling his father, saying, "You did this. You did this. You didn't protect him." Like that was an incredibly human moment. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, he
that.
almost kills his dad.
Yeah.
Like, he
Like
literally just throws him to the ground and begins to choke the life out of
yeah.
him because
And then
he's looking for his brother, and then you hear the gunshot, and you already know.
yeah.
Even if you don't know, like, this family story at all, like, you already know, like,
You already know. Yeah.
your brother just killed himself.
And I believe that was when Kevin decided to sell, which is you have to realize, okay, I know Vince McMahon is getting his comeuppance now for this woman. I don't know if you've been following the drama lately, right? The
I have
court
not.
case. Well, basically, no McMahon will work for the WWE ever again, which is
Mhm.
incredibly tragic. When you think about how his father, you have to realize the story, okay? People don't know this wrestling history. But as much as I hate Jim Cornette because he's like a terminal libtard, when it comes to wrestling, he's more or less correct. Although I do have a special place in my heart for deathmatch wrestling, but that's neither here nor there. Jim Cornette told the story in multiple documentaries. Vince McMahon Sr. starts the I believe it was WWF, later WWF, later WWE, right? Under
Mhm.
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon Sr. He was the owner of the New York territory. His main building was Madison Square Garden, which is like one of the biggest, right? To
Yeah.
this day, it's a sacred place for the WWE. The way it's a sacred place for the New York Rangers, for do they have baseball there too? New York Mets or no? No, they have their own field, right? The
I
New York
think so.
Mets. Yeah, yeah. So Vince McMahon Sr. He has a meeting with the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. He has a meeting with Jim Crockett Promotions. Jim Crockett Promotions later becomes WCW, the main competitor, because it was bought out by Ted Turner. He
Mhm.
goes to every little promotion and he says, "Listen, I'm too old to do this. My son, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, is going to take over. But I promise you that my son will never compete with any of you, that we're going to honor the territory system and it will be fine. Even though we have the biggest one, because we're in New York. We have the biggest draw, right?" And then of course they acquire Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon Jr. And what does Vince do? He puts every single territory out of business. He buys them out. He takes their best wrestlers because he can offer them more money, or people willingly sell the territory. Like he sold Kevin Von Erich sold their territory to them. Um, Vern Gagne sells the AWA to him. Stu Hart sells Stampede Wrestling out in Alberta to him and says that your son's going to be the champion. But we all know, and of course, the title of this, can someone guess the title of this stream? Wrestling with Shadows. It's in reference to the Bret Hart documentary where Bret Hart gets screwed over in the Montreal Screwjob by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon puts all of them out of business. He eventually puts WCW out of business, right? So the territory is gone. Wrestling becomes sports entertainment. And now we're left with what wrestling is today, which is between, WWE, which is basically Disneyland, which is owned by a corporation, and the Vince McMahon and his family has nothing to do with it anymore because of the scandal that's come about recently. I believe Stephanie had something to do with it, his daughter, but then she was also deposed because of the recent revelations that Stephanie McMahon knew about certain female wrestlers and certain female staff members that are being groped on by Vince McMahon, and of course did nothing about it. So another,
Mhm.
I think in 20 years, maybe 10 years, there's going to be a movie about the Kennedy dynasty. That would be amazing. That would be incredible. But so Vince McMahon, he buys the promotion after Kerry Von Erich dies. Kerry Von Erich was on his way to becoming a champion. Uh, he was, up there with Hogan, then eventually The Rock and all. I don't think The Rock was there, but he was up there, right? And
What would eventually come, yeah.
What would eventually come on the cusp of sports entertainment in the mid 90s. And so
Because this
wrestling,
story takes place throughout the 70s and 80s.
yes, yes. And
Or this
so,
movie does, I should say.
well, because by the time you get to the mid 80s, the territories were done. It
Yeah,
was over.
yeah.
And so wrestling, yeah, okay, whatever, it's fake, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's a very human story, a very human tragedy. I mean, these people, they sacrifice their bodies, their family, their lives for to be the best. That is what professional wrestling is. It is a drama. It is up there with King. It is a violent version of. It is a like spectacle of like King Lear or a mafia drama. It has everything. That is what professional wrestling is.
Well, it
And
kind of
nowadays,
there is a King Lear element to it, but instead of 3 daughters, it's 3 sons.
yeah, exactly,
Well, more
exactly.
than 3 sons,
It's
but
still real to me, damn it. They sacrificed. It's still real to me. Those guys in the territories, they sacrificed. It's funny because that clip, Jim Cornette was in a gym, and he was doing like a shoot interview in the gym, and that's where the clip comes from. It was a Jim Cornette interview, and the guy's like, "Wrestling's still real to me, damn it!" You know, like, oh,
I can't fault him. Like, especially after watching this, even if it's dramatized, the
even if
training,
it's fake, quote unquote, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
yeah, like the amount of
Ask any
training
wrestler that gets
watching these
injured. It's
guys.
still real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't fake diving onto concrete. You can't fake being slammed onto the turnbuckle. Well, you can. Okay, there are steps that performers, that the gymnasts, that people have known for multiple for centuries now. That
Yeah.
they've known about performance art, right? There's ways that you can take a bump, that you can make it less physically taxing. But there's certain things you can't fake in wrestling. I'm sorry. Okay. Like, it's a fake outcome. But, after a while, like, what? Okay. Sorry, Prude, I cut you off. Go ahead. I have a little rant, but go ahead, Prude.
Also, like, the movies really I'm just thinking about all the things that I kinda scribbled down this morning. Really well shot. It's incredible. There's, like, one cheesy transition. There's, like,
Yeah.
well, I don't even call it cheesy. There are 2, like, decent transitions. The one where, like, the youngest son is, like, playing Rush in his, like, bedroom, and then it, like, cuts to the 3 brothers that are entering the ring to Rush as Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
The flip of the coin, and then you can tell um, that it's Carrie who's going instead of Kevin into the ring, who's taking it on. It's just it's really good. Like, it's a competent, well shot film. It's from A24, and yeah, I think the King Lear comparison is kind of good because even though the story is about Kevin,
Yeah.
it's also about witnessing the madness and the drive of the father driving, you know, the sons in the same way King Lear with Regan, the daughter, into the position that they go through, and we see this story. But but there is no fool character for the king that would kind of like call him out on his bullshit. Instead, we see the very Faustian problem of pushing it so far that I inadvertently lead to 3 of my kids killing themselves,
Yeah. Well,
which
it's
is just
funny.
damning and damaging.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's a very funny thing with a strong patriarch, because there's no doubt that he loves his sons. It's no doubt that Fritz von Erich loves his sons. It's just that pushing them to their utter limit is a weird and crazy and even abusive form of love, if that really makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sounds crazy, that sounds bonkers, but if you have a strong, overbearing patriarch like that, he does love his sons. It's just that he's driven to excellence. He wants his family to be the best. But the problem is that, and this is why in the description I said it's masculinity in crisis, is that he's going up against forces in times that are changing, that are beyond his control. The way that the NWA as a council constantly passing him over, constantly then passing his sons over, apart from Kerry Von Erich, is that again, he's going up against forces that are outside of his control, that represent a sort of authority that he cannot manipulate,
Yeah.
that he runs up against. And that's incredibly frustrating. And when his son even dares to sell the promotion to Vince McMahon, like, that's a betrayal. It's
Yeah.
like my legacy that you've built up. That,
You've
and all
betrayed the family, you've betrayed the father.
exactly. And all those promoters spent decades building up these promotions and talent. For whether it was the Poffo family, which was Lenny Poffo and his brother Macho Man Randy Savage, their father ran a territory. The original Sheik, which I believe was depicted in the first match of the
Yeah, it
film.
was.
Yeah, the original Sheik ran a territory. He ran Toronto and Detroit and Windsor. He ran the Windsor, Toronto, and Detroit territory. All these guys. They Vern Gagne, Sam Munchnick, the Funk family, Stu Hart out in Stampede Wrestling in Alberta, in Calgary. Like, all of them, they were basically robbed by Vince McMahon. Their legacies were destroyed. And you could see it because of the WWE network. You could see the tape library, right? But like, all those guys, like, they were like tears in the rain, and it became this big spectacle. And now that same spectacle, if you were a millennial growing up in the Attitude or the Ruthless Aggression era, now you see what wrestling's become. It's become the fucking Disney Channel. Like, I'm sorry. It pains me, man. It pains me. Because it was real. It's still real to me. Those guys sacrificed. No, I make fun of it, but it's true. But the thing is, so there's that love that you have for your sons, but it's pushing them to their extremes. It's making an unreasonable demand of fame and greatness upon them. It's just yeah, it's incredible. But what you should do? You should watch some of those matches from back in the 60s with Fritz von Erich. Like, the matches between him and Giant Baba, him and Bruno Sammartino. They were incredible. Like, you talk about wrestling nowadays. These fucking guys, they don't know how to work a crowd. You think Orange Cassidy with his little gimmick where he comes out with his hands in his pocket and he looks like he's stoned half the time. Like, oh, that gets over a crowd. Doing a million flips gets over a crowd. This guy had to raise his hand in the air and the crowd would go insane because they knew the Iron Claw was getting over. Like, literally one gesture could get a crowd of 50,000 people in the Tokyo Dome, to get a crowd over 20,000 people in the Texas Sports Coliseum, like 30,000 people in the Cow Palace. Like, it's incredible. These guys do not know what they're doing. They don't, like, you watch AEW, it's like,
It's not the same. It's not the same audience anymore.
It's not the same audience either. It's a bunch of these. I'm not gonna say, but a fall. What's crazy is I remember when I was a kid, I was watching Val Venus, the Attitude Era. We're actually mutuals on Twitter, and he actually got into trouble the other day because he had this picture of Cody Rhodes with a Transformer flag in the crowd. Right, these Transformers, they watch wrestling, they love wrestling. And they bring the flag where they say, protect Transformer kids. That's, Kenny Omega had one. There's this photo of Kenny Omega with a sign that says protect Transformer children. That's what wrestling is nowadays. That's what it is. And they got to do a million flips. They got to do stupid hokey gimmicks. They got to do fucking comedy wrestling. They can any of those guys in AEW, can they get over a crowd just by raising their claw? They can't. They can't. I'm blackpilled. I gotta do another 3-hour thing with AA again about wrestling.
Yeah, you gotta talk. I was about to say, you gotta get him to watch this movie.
We should have brought him on to review the film. That would have been.
He doesn't do
other people's show, does he?
He comes on occasionally, but
Okay.
he has the showmanship of many other performers that it's about me and me only.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you gotta glaze him over a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if he's seen it yet, but I would highly recommend that he does.
Damn those Decepticons!
Damn Decepticons! Yeah, no, it'd be.
Oh man.
So true.
But no, but like this was an amazing film, and I think because the market of pro wrestling, like my theory as to why this film is effective as like a family patriarchal story, the reason it was made is because I think that it is such a deep story within the heart of pro wrestling, its history, but also I think like because wrestling is like sort of in North America has like a lot of like being left coded that you could sort of like excuse me, you could like slip base stories underneath, the radar. And I think like the part at the very end with his two sons where it's about like men can cry.
Yeah.
I think you can probably slip in a lot of baseness if it just has like a little bit of libtardation in the back end. So it's like it's sort of like it's like the Strauss thesis about like persecution of the author, right? I
Mm.
think like if you give them a little bit of libtardation as a treat, you can smuggle in a lot of implicit baseness, which I think is what this film does. Because in the end, it shows the detriment of toxic masculinity, that men can cry, which is, it's a good message, but like in context, I mean. But the fact that like it does focus on a largely male film, like this, I don't think this film passes the Bechdel test, to
Oh,
be honest.
heavens no.
You
There are,
know?
like, 2 women, one's a wife and one's a girl that's, like, clearly trying to, like, get back to having her husband and kid, with her
Yeah.
father in her life, and, like, no, they're you could almost not those 2 women, you could probably cut them out of the film, and there'd be almost no major impact to the story that is being told whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not, it's sorry progressives, but, like, that this story did not need them in there. Like, I mean, there was this one touching scene with the mom because
With
they're
the
at, like,
wife, yeah, with
with
the wife.
with 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 Kevin's wife because she's like she can't go out and do another funeral, and she would
Yeah.
be wearing the same dress that she wore to the last funeral, and she's like, "I can't do it. People are gonna notice," and, like, she's thinking about the perception that
Yeah.
people are gonna talk about the fact I'm wearing the same dress that I wore at my other son's funeral, and it's just like, this is funeral number 2 for you? Or 3?
Number 3.
Number 3.
Well, number
And
4 if you wanna include their oldest brother that
that
died
yeah,
when he
yeah,
was
yeah,
5
yeah,
years
yeah,
old,
yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
But it's just like, damn, it shows you how much she has surrendered herself to this life, that the only
Yes.
thing she can think about is the media perception that they're going to notice I'm wearing the same dress I wore to the last one, and you're just
Yeah.
whereas, and I'm sure that's her cope or her excuse because she can't say, "I can't do this again. I am burying another child I brought into this world," which is the worst feeling on this earth is a parent
Yes.
to bury their own kid.
Yeah.
And, she can't say that. She literally has to put it in the framework of they're going to talk about, you know, my my dress, and not that I'm suffering because my kid is dead,
Well,
and
it's a way of, like,
I
mediating
can't
suffering
blame the
without.
man who did it.
Yeah, she can't really blame the man who is partially responsible for that.
Yeah.
So in absence of that, it's finding a pseudo activity or a
A
pseudo
pseudo
concern.
complaint, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, it's really well done. I appreciate this movie. It's really good, even if you don't know jack shit about wrestling. Like, I would really recommend that you watch it. It's fantastic. So yeah, highly recommend.
You know what it reminds me of? There is this funny interview, I believe it was in Beyond the Mat. Um, it was kind of funny, but you could tell like there was kind of some like a hidden pain there. They interviewed Stu Hart and his wife when
Mm,
they were like 90 years old, right?
yeah.
And Stu Hart's wife goes, I told him, I said, let's get out of wrestling. I don't like wrestling, and he says, just another year, and just another year. And then lo and behold, we've been doing wrestling for 50 years, 60 years. All of my sons are wrestlers, all my daughters are married to wrestlers. Like
Yeah,
I'm like,
not
oh
really life.
man. Beyond the Mat is actually, if you want a really good wrestling documentary, it shows the detriments to the wrestling lifestyle. Beyond the Mat was an incredibly depressing film. It especially the parts with Jake the Snake Roberts. It
Mm.
like it really like you're away from your family. My daughter hates me. I can never relate to women. I can't relate to anybody else. It's like that was an incredible and Beyond that was interesting because it was when the Attitude Era was really kicking off to where you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, you had The Rock, you had Mankind, well Mick Foley, and it showed it really showed like the gritty reality of what it takes to be a professional wrestler. Like there was that one scene where Jake the Snake Robert goes from the like selling out Madison Square Garden at WrestleMania, King of the Ring, to
Mm.
being in fucking indie promotions. Which I mean, for the mid '90s, a 3,000 seat indie promotion, like there's indie promotions that get like 50 people now, wrestling shows, right? Um,
Yeah.
3,000 people, that's great for an indie promotion, but still, it's Jake the Snake Roberts, right? Like, and it shows like his decline in his health, and it was, and also it showed the scene where he lost the King of the Ring to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that was the famous saying, uh, Austin 316 says, "I just kicked your ass." But that promo he did when he won, and Jake the Snake Roberts he's hobbling off from the ring. He said, and Stone Cold Steve Austin says, you go in the back and you preach your Bible and you suck back that liquid courage. And it's like, that's brutal because everyone knew that Jake Roberts was dealing with alcoholism and drugs. And it's like, that was so brutal. Right. And he goes, you say John 3:16. I just said Austin 3:16 just kicked your ass like that. And that was the beginning of the Attitude Era right there. And man,
Fucking brutal.
brutal. And but then the good thing is that Jake the Snake Roberts, he was the first success story of a Diamond Dallas Page's program of recovery thing, and
Mhm.
so now he's doing way better. He's been clean for a few years, and Jake the Snake Roberts is doing way better. So yeah, that's but yeah, he was on Joe Rogan a few years ago. Yeah, that was a good interview actually. But also I think another thing too, the reason that they did such a piss poor job on Ric Flair is because you got to realize that they were making this film on the edge of Ric Flair being canceled for various perversions and alleged things with women and stuff. So they had to depict Ric Flair as like this drunken party animal type deal, you know? So yeah. I remember the Basham brothers. They were like they did like the BDSM thing. They had this black dominatrix. That was
Oh my.
this was like peak ruthless aggression era, mid 2000s WWE. They had a bondage tag team, and they had a black dominatrix. That was the Basham twins. Yeah.
Just what everyone wants.
Well, I mean, if what can Vince McMahon do? Okay, people are shocked that Vince McMahon got canceled. Vince McMahon depicted his wife cheating on his own wife, who is a paraplegic in the storyline. I mean, she's not Linda McMahon is not a real paraplegic, but in the story where he's cheating on his wife, he alludes to cest with his daughter. He like he talks to God. He insults God in the middle of the ring, and he says that he's better than God. Like, what can Vince McMahon like? People are shocked. His actions have led to the death and the untimely end of many wrestlers. And you people are shocked that Vince McMahon would abuse some office girl and pay her hush money? Like, are you being like, yeah, I'm shocked that Vince didn't get canceled earlier. Exactly. It's oh my God. You people, even Jim Cornette, a libtard, says that you people are shocked that Vince McMahon would pay some girl hush money and like that's what cancels him? Like it's and you know what's so fucking stupid, Brood, is that he agreed to pay this girl, this office woman, $3 million. And this is what he's done to every wrestler. He only paid her $1 million. He didn't pay her the other $2 million. He wait. Oh my God. Like $3 million is like his like that's his food bill for the week. Like that's his supplement bill. Like it's I don't know. Vince McMahon. It's over. It's over. It's
It sure
over.
seems like it.
No, there's modern wrestling. There's no way he can recover. No, it's over. The Vince McMahon, the McMahon family's done. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
It's over for them unless like his wife gets another job in the Trump administration. That's the only future that they have at this point right now is that like they're like, listen, babe, we have less than 1 year. I'm gonna get a job back in the Trump administration, Vince. It'll be okay. You know, you'll get a pardon.
You saw it on someone's head like a Saudi prince.
You know, I wonder because the movie The Founder, with the whole Ray Kroc story.
Oh yeah.
With McDonald's, like, they depict him as like a total like rat bastard towards the end.
He was.
Sure. But like when I watch that movie, there's this like tiny like Mr. Monopoly man speaking in the back of my head that's like, he's pretty based, right? Like, he fucked over guys, right? Like he's like the American dream, right? Like you can
sort of like it's sort of like Harry Truman.
Little whisper in the like back of your head where you're just like, yeah, he's based Ray Kroc, do it. He stole some other man's wife. He's like, he screwed over another man's wife. He's just like, he started an entire empire. He's worth millions of dollars. I wonder if they'll do that with the McMahons. Because how you're explaining this to me, like his father, he's promised all these things, just like Ray Kroc promised all these things, and then screws them over one by one.
Yep.
I wonder if we'll get a story about McMahon.
Vince McMahon? Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, both of them. I mean, like, come on, look at Vince McMahon's career. Even as someone who knows basically jack shit about wrestling, I know who Vince McMahon is.
Yeah.
And everyone knows who Vince McMahon is. Like, the man is going to get a biopic sooner rather than later.
He is the best heel in wrestling. No wrestler could be that much of a heel. Like the stuff he did with Austin, like it was but I think it was Roddy Piper before he died. He had the shoot interview where he said it the best. He goes, "When you work for Vince McMahon, you're a cog in a very vast machine, and he puts you in and he sucks." And you could, if you know about Roddy Piper, his promo, you could tell like in his like Scottish, his accent, like his drawl, like he's being dramatic, right? He goes, "Vince McMahon, he puts you in, he sucks the life out of you, then he throws you aside, he puts another one in. And that's it." And he goes, and that's true. That he took Hulk Hogan, he sucked the life out of him, he screwed him over. He took Bret Hart, he screwed him over, he destroyed everything his father built in Stampede Wrestling. He destroys. He takes Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels loses his smile. He goes away. He took Randy Savage. He took his father's territory. Keep in mind, because Vince fucked over Randy Savage's father too, and like every little ounce he takes out of you, right? And he basically leads to the death of Owen Hart, right?
Yeah.
So for many years, Bret Hart was incredibly bitter with Vince because it's like, you killed my brother, you destroyed my father's business, you took me and you screwed me over, so you could give the title to Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, right? Which, I mean, it was inevitable anyways, because like Bret Hart couldn't have sustained his like, his like, I'm a good superhero type of thing, right? But like the point being is that like Vince McMahon, as much as he gave the world the most quality and meaningful moments in wrestling, that's what people are ignoring here. Vince McMahon created some of the best moments of drama, of laughter, of the best matches, the best moments, the best superstars that will live forever. There will be people 100 years from now who will know who The Rock is, who will know who Hulk Hogan is, who will know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is, right? That was because of Vince McMahon. But at the same time, look at how many lives that he destroyed, right? You
Yeah.
can't that like you can't even put some kind of, you can put a moral lens on it, but at the end of the day, um you're talking about Teddy Hart. Sorry, you're talking about Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart alleged, his girlfriend disappeared, whatever. Anyways, Teddy Hart's another tragic story. The kid was handed a career at 18 years old, the youngest signing of the WWE. He invented more moves. He forgot more moves he invented. But again, another tragic story. He had a form of schizophrenia, I think, and drug addiction, you name it, right? Like Teddy Hart is another tragic story. His uncle Brett abandoned him, and again, that's the thing. Like, I'm spurging out right now about pro wrestling, but pro wrestling, I know, like nowadays it's soy or whatever, but like it is an art form that is tragic, that is beautiful, that is physical, that is poetic, that appeals to theory cells like me and appeals to chuds. It's beautiful. It's a tragedy that pro wrestling is in the hands of bugmen. So like Tony Khan is a rich money mark bugman, and it's tragic. But yeah, there you go. That's my little spiel. It's man, that's crazy.
Feel good.
Someone should clip. Oh, I wanted to remind you all that I do appreciate when people do the YouTube clips for our show, because I can generate YouTube shorts. So if you have a YouTube clip, please clip the show, because then I can generate YouTube shorts from Digital Archipelago. So I do appreciate when people do that. I go to the clip section in the YouTube app. I rambled for a long time. I'm very sorry. Is there any contemporary news we should go out before the super chats? Oh, Steve, those super chats, by the way. I think there's a
No,
lot of
I enjoyed the film, and I would recommend that our audience watches it.
Yep.
You can find it online. It's pretty easy to get a hold of. It's a really good movie for 2 hours, 10 minutes or so. The acting is really well done. It's a good family drama, and it's just you're gonna feel. I mean, I hate to say how that's a terrible way to word it, but I mean, it's very hard nowadays, I think, with a lot of modern cinema to like gut punch you and tell a good family story with tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few films that does it,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm very impressed with it. And I'm not a wrestling guy. I never have been, and I can recommend this film. I enjoyed it without knowing a lot about wrestling, and just to see the physicality of it, the acting, I mean, it's really good. And to see actors from, TV shows like Shameless, or from Zac Efron, who used to be like a Disney child actor,
Yeah.
be where he
Yeah.
is today, it's really impressive. And I don't know how much work they did on Efron to make that look on him possible.
Well, speaking, it also did depict very honestly the other type of scourge um, that follows pro wrestlers, of the drug variety.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so I don't know if Zac Efron is has a really good Hollywood training program, or if he's taking
Oh, I'm sure it's a mix of both training, After Effects, post,
trending,
trend.
trending. Yeah,
I'm sure it's a mix of all that.
yeah, yeah. The vascularity is just incredible. By the way, he really got it down. But
No, it was really good. I
yeah.
mean, I would recommend this film to our entire audience. It's fantastic.
Well, that was another thing that Jake the Snake said in Beyond the Mat. He goes, you're on the road for however many hundreds of days. You have to wrestle 2 times a week, 3 times a week. You have to fly. You have to find a gym. You have to eat. You have to find a way to exist on the road. He goes, taking drugs, whether it's performance enhancing or recreational, he goes, for the pain, like that's just a necessity. No wonder wrestlers die early. Like, I mean,
Yeah, no wonder
here,
there's a lot of drug problems.
yeah, like here's why wrestlers die early. because Hulk Hogan was actually on Joe Rogan recently, and he answered this question. The reason wrestlers die early is because you have the detriments of two things, two industries that chew up and spit out human beings: the entertainment industry, and you have the problems of sports. So, like a band, like any music group or any entertainer, there's rises and runs. You're at the top, you're headlining WrestleMania, then you're in some indie promotion making $500 a night, if that, right?
Yeah.
You have ups and downs. Now you have the detriment of a physical sport. A UFC fighter will fight maybe 2 times a month if they train really hard. If you're a wrestler, if you're especially on the indie scene, you're wrestling 2, 3, 4 times a week. Chances are, doesn't matter how safe you are, you're going to get hurt eventually. It's inevitability, right? You are two or more bodies crashing together in a ring that isn't very soft. People think it's like a trampoline. It's not. If you go to indie show and you feel what a wrestling ring feels like, it is not soft. Okay. So it's bound to happen. So that's why wrestlers die in their 50s and their 60s, in their 40s. Wrestlers die. Like it's an incredibly taxing industry because you have to deal with two very uniquely detrimental industries: entertainment and sports. And no wonder they die in their 40s, or they die sooner, or they go crazy like Chris Benoit. So man, I probably shouldn't mention Chris Benoit. You know what's tragic though? It's okay. It's tragic. He redacted his family, but the thing is that he really was one of the best wrestlers to have ever lived. He was one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. Chris Benoit was one of the best, and it's tragic that you can't even acknowledge that because of what happened, what he did. But anyways, is there any contemporary news before we go? Oh, see those super chats, by the way. That's always appreciated. Anything in the news, Prude?
Anything in the news?
Besides the Starship Troopers discourse.
Oh, well, I'm glad that that's over. I don't know, actually, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, Navalny. Did we talk about Navalny?
No, we did not.
Can you imagine he probably did actually die of embolism or something?
I don't know what the actual I know that they had released a statement on the actual cause of death that he had, and Trump had compared himself to him in a recent interview,
I saw that. Yeah,
which I thought was interesting because it's like now you're going to force the regime to say exactly what I'm doing, which is political persecution. It's not like Navalny.
Yeah,
the regime has to do more linguistic gymnastics to do that. He's dead. The conflict might escalate in Israel towards parts of Lebanon. So we'll see how that goes. I saw reports.
Well, yeah, they bombed. Was it Western Lebanon or was it Southern Lebanon?
The Southern Lebanon.
Yeah.
Along the border.
What's going on with that? Nobody seems. I've seen leftoids that they talk about Palestine, but are they still persecuting the Palestinians there? They're still bombing them?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Oh my God. What's the death toll at this point?
Tens of thousands. I have no idea.
Oh my God.
I do not know.
They never stopped. Yeah, that's right, internet friend. That's crazy. That's incredible. Do you think there will be a resolution soon or probably not?
There was a discussion about that at the United Nations Security Council, to which the United States vetoed no, which of course that's the death of it, period, because all the 5 permanent members of the council have a veto power. The United Kingdom abstained. The United Kingdom had an interesting thing earlier with its parliament, wherein they're having a discussion about Gaza, to which the Speaker of the House had said, I don't want another terrorist attack in here.
Mm.
Basically, it sounded as if they are making concessions to the Muslim minority in the UK
Oh
with
yeah,
respect to its policy on Gaza, which, I mean, welcome to how things are here in the United States. A lot of our
that
foreign
ship has
policy is
sailed.
entirely predicated on minority, lobbying and violence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really that's really fucking depressing.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't know, Chad. Is there anything that you want us to talk about real quick before we go
Yeah.
to?
Send us some super chats.
Yeah, we'll talk about whatever you want us to talk about.
And it's been a news light week.
Well, yeah, it kind of has been.
China called out Israel recently.
Yes, they did.
Oh man, that's crazy. So I think I honestly think that like I mean I pray that a ceasefire is done immediately, of course. But I think by the summer they're going to have to realize like listen, we can't really keep destroying these people forever. I think by the summer they're going to have to do something. Um but, Ukraine, that'll last till next year. Definitely.
Yeah, I
That's
don't see a ceasefire to that happening anytime soon. I don't see the war coming to an
no.
end.
Well, that was a huge W when they took on Dievka, but that's I mean that's another thing too. I think that well, I was actually watching this interview with a former head of NATO from Germany that was like calling out the Germans, and it was quite interesting. Um,
Mm,
the dissident right is burnt out right now. Louis Cachet.
sure.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, apparently we're the woke right now, according to that slimy Konstantin Kizin character.
What? Oh my God, the woke right?
The woke right.
What
Remember,
the
guys, if
hell?
we're not classical liberals, you're wokey no matter what side of the spectrum you're on. And I'm like, aren't. And then someone was just like, oh, by the way, this guy's like dad, like, took his money and ran. The Soviet Union collapsed, and now he's in the West.
You know what's funny? I
What's
don't know if
fun?
I should say this on air.
Oh, then
I
probably
probably
not.
shouldn't.
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, a certain person told me to not trust Konstantin Kisin because he tried to feed him a story and he refused to follow up. So,
I wouldn't trust most people with an obvious axe to grind against their former place of residence.
well, what is with Konstantin Kisin? What's his backstory? Is he like one of these post left people, or like what is he's
No,
like
he's
Barry
just like,
Weiss?
yeah, more like Barry Weiss.
Oh, so he's not like the exile type, like Glenn Greenwald. What's that
I
other
mean,
guy, Taibbi? Yeah, he's
I
not
don't,
like
but yeah, I don't think so. He's not like that. But I
yeah.
mean, they interview people all the time. Like, I mean, their trigonometry thing. That's the whole reason why Sam Francis.
Oh
That was the
my
interview where, not Sam Francis, where fucking Sam Harris was like, "Yeah, I don't care about Hunter Biden had dead kids or whatever in his basement. We got to stop Trump, man."
That's crazy. Trigonometry. Put the woke away operation. Yeah. Oh, he's a comedian? I wasn't laughing.
A
Sort of like
comedian?
Vito trying to be a comedian. I wasn't laughing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I didn't know. I didn't know there was something funny here.
I
It's just
laughed harder
sad.
I laughed harder when Surfer and PPP called Vito well, not gonna say it, than anything Vito's ever done. So you know
Yeah, I
what's
can't.
funny? I actually streamed with Vito once on BTR. I was the most embarrassing thing ever because he started attacking my friend Hero, who was on stream as well. And I told Lev we shouldn't do this. But then Lev had Mr. Girl on that one time. That's the only stream I ever regret because it was giving a platform to someone like Mr. Girl. So that was a painful memory. Anyways,
It sounds like a painful memory.
well, next week we could talk about something else. So maybe the news will pick up or we'll figure something else out. But
You know what? This was very cozy.
yeah, it was very cozy.
It
Had a good
was,
viewership too.
it was very cozy. I'm a fan of when we do movie shows.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
nice and cozy. Plus, it was like a really good movie.
it was
Like,
yeah, it was good.
like it's such a hard thing for us to do. Where it's like, sometimes we review slop, like Kink or the Teen Apocalypse trilogy, and then turns out no, there's actually still really good movies
They
out
were
there.
quality. Don't say that about Gregoraki. Don't say that. That was good. You know what? Mr. D actually knew Gregoraki in real life.
That does not surprise me in the
The
slightest.
director of the Teen Apocalypse. We should review his other film, Splendor, which is like a polyamory thing. No, I know. I can hear Prude off
Why?
the.
Why?
Change your profile right now to the Prude Jack, the Doom Jack.
No, I'm using OBS Virtual Cam, so no, I can't do
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah, okay.
That's why I have the full screen image.
You know what I like about super chats because our fans give us actually quality comments. So, if you don't want to give to YouTube, you don't want to give to Susan Wojcicki. Oh, by the way, did you see about that? Her son.
That her son passed away. Yes.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not gonna listen. Okay, as much as we disagree with the current thing of YouTube, I think, like we said, it's a genuine tragedy for a mother to lose their son, and I pray for Susan Wojcicki and her son. Rest in peace. So,
I mean, like again, the fentanyl crisis should be very
yeah,
clear to you by now. Even if you're a druggie or someone that just enjoys things casually, which again, you should take that very seriously. Um, you can be killed very, very easily, very
yeah.
quickly when you think you're taking something and turns out it's not, or it's laced, or it's people who don't clean up their, previous deal and it's all over you got to be careful.
Well, apparently he wasn't even like. This is what's so scary about it. He didn't even have a problem with drugs. He went to a house party and he went to a frat party and he took something. Um, that's scary. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's terrifying. Not to say that if you have a history of drug problem that you deserve to. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are people that struggle with addiction for many years where it's like, oh, like it's, what's going to happen. But this is like that's like even worse. It's
No,
worse in some ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely different than,
A
you know,
lifetime
yeah,
long
a lifetime problem in which meets a tragic end. I mean, this is someone just did one thing and then that was that.
unintentional danger. Yeah. Yeah.
Which again, that is unfortunately part of. We haven't solved the problem, and that problem isn't going away because people don't want it to go away because, again, whether it's opioids or pills or whatever, they are okay if it means people I don't like die.
Well, they say that in places like Vancouver, like even like weed oil is being laced with fen. Can you imagine that?
Like
That's
like CBD oil.
oh well no well the like ever done dabs before, Prude?
No,
Do
I
you have
just
dabs in America?
well, yeah, but I just if I I've smoked weed, I just never did dabs.
No. Dab oil is being laced with
Oh
fentanyl.
no,
Yeah.
that I never did. No, um no.
I tried dabs once, and I couldn't open my eyes for half an hour. I was gone. It was a. I remember my friends like, "You went for a trip, Gio. You went for a trip." That was intense.
Sounds like it.
You guys have to have dab oil in
I'm sure
America.
we do, but
Yeah.
I didn't really do drugs, Gio.
No,
No.
I only did like shrooms and weed, and that's it. That's.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't smoked weed in like
I lived a
5-6
pretty
years.
relatively drug-free youth.
Yeah, I don't drink.
I did
Oh,
a
I
lot of
could tell you
drinking.
some trip reports, Ikaro. I could tell you some trip reports. So yeah.
I was more of a drinker than I was anything else.
You know who didn't smoke weed? Oh my god.
Uh,
Anyways, let's go on to super chat. So Vito keeps saying we're comedians. Yeah, well, we'll believe that.
yeah.
Vito and
I'm a
Dick
comedian. I'm a
Masterson.
comedian. I don't know. I didn't know that your life here was the comic story.
Well, there are rumors that apparently he lives with Mr. Girl. So
Oh boy. How exciting.
Geoff, hey Geo, big fan of yours. Can you share your thoughts on Richard Rorty? Um, I do not like Richard Rority's political work in terms of being like the liberal side of postmodernism, but I think that some of his critiques of Michel Foucault were kind of unfair. But I do think that there are certain works by Rorty that are quite good. I was exposed to Rorty in university. It's been a while since I've read Richard Rorty, but maybe me and Tyler Hamilton, when he comes on Content Minded, we could talk a little bit about him. But Jeffrey, if you have any, Geoff, if you have any, how do I say that? It's Jeff, right? It's just Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have any specific works of Rorty in mind, I could give. I probably am familiar with them, but I just think that Rorty and who am I thinking of here? Communicative action. Habermas. They're sort of like, they realize that the danger that postmodernism represented to the liberal order of things. So I think like they have this like conscious pulling back, but also I think there's certain elements of art criticism that Rorty does that I don't exactly agree with somewhat. But it's been a while since I've read Rorty. But thank you for the question. That's not super chat, by the way. He's not giving me money. But if you want to give me money, my Entropy link's down there. My patreon.com/Giant Productions. You also get all the same audio on Substack. I released that piece. And of course, my PayPal is also Cash App, PayPal, Entropy, YouTube super chats. So DMT report. I didn't really have a chance. The new age guy I was friends with in school, he the one I mentioned sometimes, who was he was an understudy of that Vervaki, that guy that is with Jordan Peterson, right? I haven't talked to him in a long time, and I think he's a lib, so I don't know. He probably doesn't agree with what I do now. But anyways,
that comes at a cost.
Yeah, let's go to the Entropy ones first. So, where's the Entropy? Here it is. So our good friend Scribe for $5, managed democracy always makes me laugh, but I don't think they meant it in the sense of managerialism, accidentally based. Is there a difference between...
He's referring to the Helldivers video game. That's the phrase they like to say, is defending and protecting managed democracy with every bullet that they can produce. And it is funny because like the nudge wink wink is like fashy aesthetics, but like the lore of the world makes it look more like the Outer Worlds, where it's more of like woke capital runs everything, and turns out it actually works. And that's the argument that they go with. Like, see, it just works.
Capital just works. Gosh darn it.
Well, what capital just works? Gosh darn it! Now you and your black wife are gonna strap in and kill some bugs. Like that's the premise.
It's like Anthony Fantano and his ex-black wife killing bugs.
Yeah, except they're both like counter-terrorist operatives, and it's like the global war on terror. Except instead of fighting jihadis, it's like robots. It's pretty entertaining.
Also, funny reference to Russia's policy of managed nationalism. That's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, well, the makers are libtards, but I'm assuming they're smarter than the average lib. Right?
Well, they're Nordic as well.
Oh, there you go. They probably know the Russian reference then, because even the E-Ray can't escape drug culture. Do you remember Millennial 2017-18? I think it was 2018.
That's when I first discovered Millennial Woes and Semiagog.
Every second one was about
drugs,
about psychedelics. There you go. So thank you, Scribe. That was but is there a difference between managerialism and managed democracy? Yeah, probably.
Wouldn't you just have, this goes back to the whole democratic elitism. Just like there are elites that make our democratic system work. It's basically elite theory, but for the good guys, if you're a progressive.
Nice. Yeah. It's progressive version of elite theory, more or less. That's
it's funny because what was it, 2014, 2015, like National Review writer Jonah Goldberg wrote this book called Liberal Fascism.
Yeah, I got it at Barnes, like one
So
of
no,
those
I know I have a copy of it too. Like I bought it
from
at
like an
Barnes and Noble.
outlet. Yeah, it was like a book. You know those book outlets where you like fill a box for like
Hmm.
$30. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where I got it
but
from.
it's like that. If there was a word like to describe that game's like I guess political theory or whatever, it'd be like liberal fascism.
It'd be like Dinesh D'Souza is right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really funny that sense.
it's funny how Dinesh D'Souza just hates Nazball. That's probably it's like the approximation of the ideology he thinks is running the world is Nazball. That's
Mm.
crazy. Um, So for $3 by I think I have another one. $3 from Seneca, our good friend. Reddit going out of business. Thank the Lord. Couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people. Well, I don't think they're going out of business, but I think they have financial problems now. So, and our good friend Fit.
That just means to me they'll take more money from
Yeah,
anyone during an election season.
that means Jannies will get paid even less. So, you know,
Well, they do it
Did
for
you see
free.
Ian? Did you see Ian Chungus was one of the top Reddit mods, but he was like scamming them to get clicks to his articles.
I did see that. Yeah,
Yeah, Ian
I
Miles
thought that was
Chungus.
particularly funny.
I think he's like one of the most hideous callers in human existence, in my opinion.
Mm.
Anyways, Ian Chungus, Fishy Frenzy, our good friend. Speaking of someone who only posts gems for $5. Care for Kurt Vonnegut. I haven't read any of his books, but I have seen the film adaptation of Breakfast of Champions, which I consider second best film I've ever seen. Woefully underrated, underscored. I think Fahrenheit was pretty good. Do you like Kurt Vonnegut? My old man
Uh,
really liked Kurt Vonnegut. My old man was a Kurt Vonnegut head, so I haven't read.
I've only read Slaughterhouse 5 and Galapagos, so I have not read Breakfast of Champions. I was given a copy of it by one of our older gentlemen at church who used to run a bookstore. So I actually should read it. So is
Yeah,
Breakfast of Champions worth reading?
I think my old man read it. He liked that book too.
Okay.
So yeah,
But I've only read Slaughterhouse 5 and Galapagos, so I don't
yeah,
know.
me too. I've only read Slaughterhouse Five.
And I like Slaughterhouse 5. I like his writing style. I like his prose. So I would say Kurt Vonnegut's worth your time.
Oh yeah. Um. There's that one book by Gogol that our friend wanted us to read. Or maybe we could read Gogol. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah. And Sam153, our good friend in Sneed for $5. He just said N Sneed. What's that in reference to? N Sneed?
I don't know.
Bug Sneed. Anyways. Um and Seneca for $3. Gio won't let me live under my rock. Time to go pause myself with unregulated Viagra facts. Owen
Dick Pill
Zaleski,
facts with Gio
what?
Penichetti.
Like a cream pie dropping from the top of a step ladder. Notice how my
Uh,
that was a joke. Like the you know the old the clowns used to do that, but like my mind went somewhere else when I
obviously.
obviously. Um, and not Omegon for $3. Brain dead leftists can't even make parodies of things they hate. The first chapter of the book involves human killing and committing war crimes against relatively sympathetic aliens called skinnies. Yeah, they didn't have skinnies in Starship Troopers.
No, they did not.
Um, that's crazy. You'd think for Heaven, if he would have read the book, he would have more material to rip Heinlein a new one. But
Well,
that's
and what's funny is that if you wanted to have like a sympathetic take for aliens, that progressives would latch on to the sequels to the Ender Game books.
yeah, not. I was gonna say Avatar, but like
Well, what is
that's too much.
Avatar other than I don't know, like
Dancing with
Pocahontas in
Wolves.
space? Yeah, dances with wolves or Pocahontas in space.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just I hate George W. Bush era neoconservatism. I'm going to make a movie about it and talk about why it's so cool to not be a white militaristic, badass.
Wait, didn't Avatar come out during the Obama years or
Came out
no?
in 2009, but
Oh,
obviously was in
right after
production for some
Bush.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that movie was a definite repudiation of the last 8 years of Bush.
Bush, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, it is basically just Dancing with Wolves in space. But anyways, oh wow, here's a good one. Rubber ducker for $20 US. Gio, in my elementary years, I went to school with Big John Stud's son. Wow. Big John Stud. That's a blast from the past. Big John Stud had already passed away of cancer at the time. His son was incredibly proud of his dad's legacy. Had all of his dad's toys, wrestling videos, B-movies, etc. We played wrestling games on his PS1. Oh, did you play WWF Warzone on the PS1? Can you imagine playing WWF Warzone on the PS1 with the son of a wrestling legend, and performed wrestling moves at recess? That's incredible. Wow, thank you so much for that, Rubber Duck. That's incredible. Can you imagine playing WWF Warzone on the PS1 back in the day with the son of Big John Stud? That's incredible. Thank you so much for the $20. For the $20 for Rubber Duck. Wow, that's incredible. Anyways, wow, that's amazing. And Owen Zaleski for $5. Hello, gents. I hope you're all doing well. Working on my passage prize. That's also, I believe, going to be the last passage prize.
It is the last passage prize in its current format, is what they said.
Yes.
So this is your last chance to be part of what Lomez and them started over there.
Oh, yeah.
Due March 1st.
March 1st. Yep. Please pray. All will try to produce a play. Please pray for me and my school, as it's hard to see if I will get off with the time we have. Have you read Isaac Young's Giga Heroes? It's great. I haven't read Giga Heroes.
No, I haven't read any of Isaac's work.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the Twitter thread. That's all.
Yeah.
The infamous multi-million view Twitter thread of his. I hope he gets a good payout.
Maybe we should float it to Sidebar Podcast to do Giga Heroes.
I don't know. I don't know if they're doing it, but they're supposed to be recording something today, is what Capitolissimo told me yesterday. So,
I listened to the Moan podcast.
I loved that.
That was great.
The Sidebar Boys reviewed that.
Oh, Capitolissimo's right there. So yeah, check out Giga Heroes. I don't know what it's about.
Check that out, Capitolissimo. I don't know what you guys are covering, but
also, I think Conan is back too. You said he's coming back soon.
He said, he posted a tweet saying, "I'm not dead. I've just been writing. I'll be back eventually."
So if Capitolissimo, if you guys want to review any of Conan's works as well, our friend Conan asked, not what's his name? Ian Fleming that wrote Conan. No, Ian Fleming did James Bond. Who did Conan the Barbarian?
Robert E. Howard.
Robert E. Howard, yeah. Robert E. Howard. Giga Superheroes, yeah. But if you wanted to review that, so what is best in life? Yeah, what is best?
Although out of all of Robert E. Howard's canon of work, my favorite is Solomon Kane. Oh,
he did Solomon Kane?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just like Giga Chad Puritan killing evil and monsters. It's so crazy.
Based. So if any of you wanted to check that out, so let's move on to the YouTube. Unless any of you wanted to give to Entropy again, I will check. So let's move on to the YouTube ones. And oh my God, our good friend Mike of Paul for $20. By the way, check out the Mike of Paul Content Minded episode. We have to record again, actually, because we actually didn't end up getting to Baudrillard that much because we were talking about other things. But
many such cases. Yep. While Prude was gaming, I was routing my Tekashi 69, or I should say Tekashi Snitch 9 AI voice into D space and unleashing chaos. We are not the same. I missed that one. He posted. Well, it's the thing he tagged us in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With the Baudrillard.
Yeah, Baudrillard. Being read by Snitch 9. So, do people still call him that, Snitch 9? Whatever happened to Tekashi Snitch 9?
Well, he was released from prison, wasn't he, just recently?
Does he still? Yeah, I think so. Does he rap still?
I don't know what he does anymore. I feel like
I have no idea about anything.
I feel like at a certain point, your cred gets ruined for cooperating with the cops.
Yeah,
I don't have unity.
when it comes to contemporary hip hop, I mean, I don't know anything. So apparently, it was the 25th anniversary a few weeks ago of the death of Big L.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. to Big L. He's like really my favorite rapper, apart from Necro. But yeah, very tragic death. Yeah. Anyways, and 20 Mexican pesos. I listen. It's tough. You know, Ethan Ralph out there in the metal shed, middle of Mexico, paying off, not getting turned aside by Mexican sex workers,
Getting felted by
getting
Mexican sex
felted,
workers.
getting felted by Harry Morris and his ex. It's tough. It's tough being Ethan Ralph. But anyways, apart from Ethan Ralph drama, um, Helldivers is only way democracy can exist.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about this Helldivers Prude. You gotta cue me
well, so really, it's a sequel to a game that came out in 2015. First one was like a over the top, kind of like isometric top down shooter. Anyways, so just the premise is like, hey, we're riffing on Starship Troopers and a little mix
Yeah.
of Halo 3 ODST in it.
I think the uniforms are the same too. Are they
It kind of, and the uniform or like the cosmetics you can get is very Halo meets Destiny. It wears it's to me it's like the closest game you'll ever get to what it's like playing an Imperial Guardsman in 40K.
Yeah.
But so no, like the whole like democracy only works, or this form of democracy, this quasi, I mean, it's very much realistic imperialism. It only works at the hand of a gun, which I mean is true with most things, right? Because
yeah,
the basic conception of the state is, you know, we the Hobbesian idea, right? Like we have our contract, we allow the Leviathan to have a monopoly on force, and this is how it works. But now, and I mean, they even make fun of it themselves, or they're like violence, or like the Empire, or Super Earth can only work at the arsenal of democracy. Like it just makes it so on the nose with how the world is supposed to be existing in the game that it's, you know, art imitates life.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean the whole premise is like, oh, democracy only works by the force of a gun. Like, yeah, turns out, you know, quote unquote democracy.tm, the thing that we live under now, it only works with the force of a gun, because we live in a world where, despite what the people vote for, it is not, you know, it's not what the people want. It's what, you know, the wealthy class and the elites want. So,
but it's a shooting game.
Yeah, it's a shooter. It's
But it has
an
all this
extraction shooter.
But it has all this backstory about democracy and
it plays. It's like 24/7 like propaganda that you can't escape from your own ship. Like it plays all the time. It's great.
Do they have playthroughs on YouTube?
Yeah, because it's like the most popular game right now. Has like over 500,000 live players, to a point where the servers don't work. Like you have to wait for like 20 to 30 minutes to get into a queue. It's that overloaded. Which is insane to think about, because like in 2007 when Halo 3 came out, like Xbox Live had like 1 million people.
Yeah.
But I mean, they made it clear like we didn't expect this many people to get into it, because again, like the first game came out over almost 10 years ago, and then they made this sequel, and they were expecting, you know, maybe 300,000 people or so tops, and then it's just like, oh, you know, here's 450,000, here's 500,000 people trying to play concurrently. So like they're suffering from success, and you can get it for $40, which is remarkably cheap comparison to a AAA title of like $60 to $79. So I mean, it's a fun commentary on like, hey, the games industry has been in a shitty place, and one of these days we'll need to do our Gamergate retrospective. That'll be the day.
We were thinking of that.
That'll be the day we finally get Carl Benjamin on or something, you know. Like, hey, tell us about Gamergate, Carl.
You know who I could get on?
Who could you get?
I probably could get David Serini.
You probably could, yeah.
Yeah, I probably could. We'll think about it.
It'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, it's someone who still, I know some of my mutuals hate that, but I mean, it's someone who still enjoys video games and has a good time with it. It's an entertaining extraction shooter, and it's a lot of fun with friends. Like I was playing yesterday with with a church buddy of mine and Capitalissimo, and there were parts where I had to like mute myself from laughing so hard, because like it's a fun, you know, thing to do with your friends. And like Jay Ford literally like donated $60 to just tell us, hey, all right, you guys need to team kill each other for the next 20 minutes.
Oh my god.
It was just a shit show. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of like someone paying $100 for on an IP2 stream so that only USB Blake can go to the casino and get drunk and get arrested again. There you go. Anyways, our good friend Lou Templar, who recently was banned on Twitter for threatening to I can't say it
redact someone
for $10 when Gio takes the gas station dick pills. Did he scream 25 inches? Oh my god, that's terrible.
What are you measuring from? His prostate?
Apparently it goes around a loop. Did you see that animation on Twitter?
No.
The coom, it like goes through a loop through the it's like a loop. Yeah.
From the yes. Oh, okay.
No one can accuse
You're referring
God
to the
of not
anatomy
having
part, chat.
Yeah. No one can accuse God of not having a sense of humor when you really think about it.
That's fair.
Anyways. There's got to be some logical reason why it goes around in a loop. But anyways. Which really is fascinating how quick it happens for it to go around the whole loop and no, never mind.
Oh my god.
For 10 PLN, which I believe is $2 Canadian. What is PLN?
I thought we went over this.
Oh, Polish Lottie.
Yes.
By the way, I'm really sorry, An Angry Place. Poland's not doing too well. It's tough. But anyways, I don't want to live in interesting times. Let me out. I too want to get off this wild, Mr. Bones' wild ride. Anyways.
So true.
Here's one just for me because my good friend Gabe knows exactly. Gabe Underground for $4.99. Coach Red Pill, Navalny. No Russian lib ever gave me dating. Oh my god! No Russian lib ever gave me dating advice. Well, but Navalny wasn't exactly a lib though. That's the thing. Like, he only like LARPed his one. I don't think he exactly was a lib in his heart. But I mean, hey, like, listen, if Russia did redact him, like, I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? But I think, you know how, like, okay, the same people, I'm not going to name names, but even on the right wing and the E-right, the same people saying how monumentally stupid that it was for Coach Red Pill to do what he did. Wasn't it monumentally stupid for Navalny to go back to Russia? Like, I mean, let's be honest with each other.
I mean,
let's be honest.
Like it.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I personally think that maybe he probably did die of like some kind of embolism or whatever. Because like, why would they do it now? Because of the election? Okay, maybe because the elections. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not that much of a vatnik to say that like there's a high probability that he probably, you know what I mean, Prude?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, it seems all very likely that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said with Coach Red Pill on my show, there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. And I guess from like a lib, like a, you know, whatever perspective, anti-Putin perspective, there is a fine line between stupidity and bravery.
Yeah.
I think both of them, I pray for their souls, of course, for both of them, even though, you know, but yeah, so that's all you could say. That's the human, that's the godly thing, the Christian thing to say is that I do generally pray for both of their souls for whatever sins or whatever triumphs they may have had. You know, it is what it is. And I do not condone political assassination either. So
no,
you know,
of course not.
There you go. Anyways, that was depressing. But here's a less depressing one. For $5 by Mobius, I wrote a few of those trip reports on Earwood back in mid. Oh my god! Oh my god! We have an Earwood old head right here. I wrote a few of those trip reports on Earwood back in the mid 2000s. I was also massive into Terrence McKenna and Alan Watts fan, as I was as well. But of course, you know, with Terrence, there's always the allegations I was controlled by the glow in the darks. Some of those drugs were bioluminescent, Prude, but
Oh, I'm
anyways.
sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But thank you, Mobius. That's incredible. That's incredible. An original. This is how small the world is. An original earwid old head was listening to our stream and gave a very generous donation. So thank you so much, Mobius. And for $5, speaking of depressing news, Dice MM, what do you guys think of legalizing gay marriage in Greece, following the footsteps of foreign powers? REP my country. Oh, you're Greek? I'm very sorry, Dice. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there was someone had posted this, and I don't
Did
know.
like 70% of people vote against it?
70 polls indicated that 70% of the Greeks themselves were against it.
Yeah, but they had to force it. That's the price they had
Well,
to pay.
the government that had passed this had said that it served a geostrategic purpose.
Wow, that's submitting the quiet part.
Oh, of course, it's a submission to being a satrapy of the United States.
Yeah.
But also they had made a reference to the Moscow Patriarchate as well, which was really depressing to see that this was the church being used in political affairs as it has in the past, which is always depressing.
Oh God.
I hope that they are the only country in terms of the Orthodox world that does this. The Greek church had condemned it. I think one of the archbishops had said that they won't allow any of people in parliament to commune. So basically a borderline excommunication, or at least to put them in some state of penitence. But
man,
I mean, I saw someone post this the other day. It was I think some sort of Greek account, but it was an icon of Christ holding the Greek flag, weeping. And I was like, there really are no other words to be said. That kind of spoke for itself. So
that's
it and here's what's tragic, and I'm going to tell you this right now. You witnessed how in America it went from Obergefell Hodges in 2015, in less than 10 years, it's state subsidies for castrating children.
And parents getting their kids taken away.
And parents having their kids taken away by the feds.
Because some teacher,
whatever you do, resist that with all your mind, strength, body, and soul, because
legally, of course, and politically,
legally, of course,
yeah. We don't advocate any violence, yeah.
But I mean, look how fast my country got, just totally, gayified in less than 5 years' time,
Yep.
or less than 10 years' time. 2015.
Oh my God.
It has been less than 10 years, and we went from gay marriage to castrating children and stealing kids away, and laws that would prevent you from talking people out of, therapy for that sort of stuff. Quote unquote therapy. It's poison. Yeah. It's castration and execution on a slower stage. So yeah, my heart goes out to the Greek people, and I pray to God that you guys resist it all that you can, because you just have to look at my country and know that's what they want for you.
And also love and take care of your children so that they don't entertain such things to begin with.
And keep them in the church as much as humanly possible, because right now, for you guys over there in Greece, of all places, that's your one bulwark against this.
Yep. That's it. Oh boy, that was depressing. But we're praying for you guys, and hopefully we'll see what happens. So death by cognitive dissonance for $10. Starship Troopers are the first time I ever saw boobs. Oh yeah, that one scene with what's her name, Ella Meyer,
in the shower scene.
Despite being only 8 or 9, I knew at that point I had just witnessed something magical. Awesome movie.
That's so true.
Open scene.
That's
oh
so
my
God,
true. That's so true.
That's so true. Like once you see that as like a 9 or 10-year-old boy, you're like, "Yep, that's what I want."
Oh my God. Yeah, the libtards owned from, again, aesthetic truth over authorial intention will always win. So there you go. And finally, let's check Entropy. Nobody there. Finally, for $1.99 by Gabe Underground. Gio, where do you stand on the waffle bread question? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, are waffles bread?
No. I mean, they can serve the function of bread containing various ingredients, but they may constitute similar qualities of ingredients. You need flour, for instance, and yeast, but they're not bread. No,
There you
they're
go.
different. They're sweeter.
Gabe thinks that they're bread.
They can serve a similar function as bread. There's there's waffle. There's like Tim Hortons, I believe, has the waffle sandwich. The waffle. But they're not bread. Because I mean, I don't know. I guess you can have bread alone. You can have waffles alone with with syrup. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of chat. Do you think waffles are bread?
Yeah, let chat decide. One for yes, 2 for no.
Waffles do not contain yeast. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Waffles don't contain yeast.
There you go. That answers it.
It's sweet bread. They're sweet breads.
Yeah, but
that's not
always
that's
doesn't
bread.
Bread contains yeast.
Press 1 in the chat for waffles being bread. Press 2 if waffles are not bread.
TR Hudson says
Is
we
that
should
fucking
read
real? Is that super chat real?
the bread one.
No, look.
Oh, hold on.
No fucking way. That's not real.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. No way.
Wow. Way to go,
my
Goose.
For
That's
$200. Oh my god. For $200. Goose. No message. Oh my god. Does that mean I have to review that Mormon erotica book?
Well, he didn't say what it was for.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's very kind of him.
That's incredible.
Really?
I'm stuck. No, I'm like genuinely. Holy crap, $200. Oh my god. Thank you so much, Goose.
That's crazy.
You could have had a message. I would have went through an hour of content.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's at least worth an hour of content, right?
Yeah, that's at least
Oh my god.
Wow.
The silent strength of a man just dropping two bills.
Yeah.
I'm stunned, man.
It's very
What did I do to deserve this? Holy crap. Holy fuck. Oh, you know what's funny? This week I threw out my back. I was supposed to see my GF this weekend, but then like I was going a bit too hard on the Rowan ride, and man, that's crazy. Oh, sorry, it's Amish erotica, Bubble. I'm sorry, it's Amish erotica.
Amish erotica. There you go.
Wow. That's crazy. That's probably the biggest super chat I've ever gotten.
Well, congrats.
I'm stunned. Old F Slurchio.
Show's over, folks. Yeah, what a note to end it on. That's so true.
Well, Goose. I mean,
I would just casually throw that $200 towards the eventual Star Wars review.
You had to remind me about that.
You know what? Because
$1,000. No, sorry.
I would raised it from a 500 to 1,000. Well,
because it's 6 movies.
That's fair.
Okay,
I watched 6 hours of that kink shit. Or it's more than 6 hours.
More. It was 8 hours. Okay, $500.
I did that for free.
Yeah, you're right, because you didn't get super chats that week.
That's true. I'm on to you.
Okay, $500. I'll review all 6 of the Star Wars films.
Yes.
$500.
Yes, I get to expose Gio to my childhood nerdishness.
How much is that in Canadian? It's like what? $300 American?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know the exact.
$300 American.
You loons.
You gotta give me $500 American though. That's the thing. It's gotta be American. If you want me to review all 6 Star, but I'm gonna have to do maybe an hour of film, so I'll have to do it like a series, like you do with the Stalin's War series.
Yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
have to
Works
do
for
it like
me.
that. Maybe an hour a week. I'll
Works
review
for
it.
me. That's more content.
But what can I talk about though with Star Wars?
I don't know. Camille Paglia did a whole bunch of shit for just one episode. I'm pretty sure you could find all sorts of stuff to talk about.
I guess. Okay, no, $1,000 is fair. Yeah, $600. Okay, $600 for six. That's $100 a film.
All we're doing now is just like haggling over price. It's more or less a bygone conclusion. It'll
Okay,
happen.
$600 American, and I will review. But you have to give it through PayPal, not through YouTube. It's got to be, unless you have to factor in the cut. So it's either through PayPal or, yeah, $600 American. I'll review all 6 Star Wars films. There you go. You people are someone's gonna do it. I guarantee you, someone's gonna pay me $600. I'm gonna be forced to watch all 6 of the original trilogy of the prequels. Yes, not the new woke crap. I already
we're
watched.
No, just the original 6. That's all it needs to be.
The original 6.
That's it.
$600. $100 a film is fine. A theory cell can talk about nothing for hours. How hard is it to talk about a set of films for I hate you, Fraser. My God. You people are vicious to me. You people are vicious.
Fraser, you're so true. You're so true, Fraser.
It's true.
If anyone wants to watch the woke crap, they can watch E::R. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's true. Although
I'm
kind of disappointed in the E::R life as of late.
Can you believe someone would pay me to watch that?
Oh, damn, Cody.
I know I sound like a bastard. I know. I'm sorry.
Damn, Cody. That was good. No, well, although, like, is ER ever going to make, like, videos again? Because all he does now is stream.
You know what's funny is that I actually watched one of the woke ones. I watched the first Ray film because my best friend dragged me to the theater. Who's also the best friend that dragged me to see 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, you've just been traumatized by this one friend all your life.
I know, I have. $600 for 6 movies. I'm beginning
to think 200 is too much for the Amish.
Yeah, but it's reading a whole book. It's not watching an hour-long film. You know what I mean? It's reading a whole book. So, yeah, John Carter. At the time of remember, if you want to give me $200, John Carter, I technically finished writing the book. I just have to edit it now and and get it sent off for editing too. But I think John Carter's like $200 when I publish the book. He'll for the Amish erotica book.
Good God.
I probably have to order it then. I'm gonna have to order the book. So $600 for 6 movies is not too bad.
You want to talk about Amish erotica?
Yeah.
Talk about a bum springer.
Oh God. But Goose, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and God bless you, sir, for the $200. That's incredible. I don't know what to say. I just
that you're very loved and very grateful.
I should split it with you, Prude.
No, it's yours. We that's how we have this set up.
I feel bad now.
Goose loves you. It's okay.
Oh my God. That's incredible. Anyways, this has been another cozy media.
It really has been. I enjoy our cozier media episodes.
Yeah, we didn't fed post or goof off that much. Well, apart from the dick pills, but that's like
that was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Because I just remember the Schwab space where he's like, you can have a whole apothecary just by taking gas station pills. That's Goose loves you and we love you, Gio. Thank you, Cody Browning. Is Cody Browning still doing the X-Files memes, or has he moved on to something else?
I don't know what Cody's up to these days. I think Cody has taken a break from Twitter.
Okay.
Because I think, if I recall correctly, Cody is also in a situation where he's like getting a PhD or something, and he's just like,
oh wow,
yeah, he's kind of having to stay low.
Yeah.
So I certainly don't blame him.
But anyways, hopefully Lou Templar comes back on a burner.
Well, he technically has one. American Realms. That used to be his like aesthetics posting account.
Oh yeah. The Restoration Bureau stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, what are you doing next week? Next week I'll probably come out with a solo episode, and the week after I have Gabe's episode.
Well, as for me, I got to finish editing some audio, but I'll probably have the video out tomorrow. If not, I'll premiere it on Monday. But I'll have a new video essay out either Friday or Monday, depending on how much I can get this editing crap done. And I'll be on Pony Express Radio with the Old Glory Club later tonight. Reminder that we are having a lovely conference June 7th through 9th with great speakers like John Doyle, Orrin McIntyre, Jeff Deist. I will be speaking there as well. Head on over to the Old Glory Club.
I'll probably be speaking there as well.
Your tickets. Yes, and I think Gio will be submitting a talk as well. So be sure for that to happen. And yeah. Blue Devil's asking about Fish Tank Season 2. Aren't you doing that episode with Gabe?
Yeah, we recorded it already. You're in luck, Blue Devil. We recorded 3 hours on mostly Fish Tank Season 2. So
there you go. You're gonna have some keynote content ahead.
We cover the Jimmy arc. We cover the summer situation. I have a very impassioned talk about airsoft fatty and obesity. And yeah, it was good. Me and Gabe, we really hammed it up. So I believe the first hour we just talked about what's it? Spangler or something like that. I forget. We talked about
Gabe likes Spangler, so yeah.
Yeah, we talked about like Nietzsche, Spangler. Yeah, so 3 hours and 2 hours of those are Fish Tank Live Season 2. So
we didn't do the we didn't do that today. Shit. Last episode. All right, so we're going to do it on the next show. So the next show, we will do the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't do it on this one.
Hell yeah.
So I will do the Myers-Briggs test live for you all.
Oh, my God.
So yeah.
Hopefully it'll be more news next week.
Well, hopefully. But we will do the Myers-Briggs test on next Thursday because I've never done it. And I don't know what I am. So there you go. We'll do the Myers-Briggs test on episode 80.
Yeah.
Next week.
80. Yeah.
Episode 80.
Yeah.
Damn. Almost 100 episodes.
Oh my God. To quote Coach Red Pill, yeah. But man, this has been a great episode and a great super chats. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Goose. That was incredible. So yeah, we will see you all next week. And next week I'll have a solo episode. Also, I think maybe either Friday or Saturday, I will release an audio just for patrons of a content-minded extra. Because I was just ranting about Richard and Anya and Russia, and it was good fun. Anyways, thank you all. God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
See you, gents.